We want to give a shout out to our sponsor and friends at Reflective Edge Screen Printing, Oklahoma City's go-to screen printer for over 30 years.
Whether you need custom tees, stickers, banners, or branded merch, Reflective Edge has you covered with top-notch quality and service.
Make sure to check out Reflective Edge for all your screen printing needs. Mention Chubby Boy Magic and you'll get 15% off your first t-shirt order.
And tell Doug hi.
And tell Doug hi.
And now, let's get into the show!
This motherfucker. All the time. Like, we have a button that censors and he'll be like, hey, hit the censorship button. I do all the editing. I'm like...
I don't do that. That was like one episode. And and I didn't start that. Everybody else started dropping all the fun words that you can't say anymore.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if there's not some software that'll auto-censor you.
We're not paying for it. Okay. I'm too cheap. Okay. Are you ready?
Are you going to leave the room again?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm here. Okay, now you really need to do it.
What? Hey.
Thank you.
Wait, give me 1 second.
Oh, it's even better. It's like he's doing little tiny burps. Hello, welcome to Chubby Boy
No
Magic.
lines are being harmed here. Maybe. Allegedly. Allegedly.
That was really hot.
You wouldn't know what to do on cocaine.
No. Welcome to Chubby Boy Magic. No, I wouldn't.
Not know what to do on cocaine.
I would like to see that though. I think you would be, you'd be like P. Diddy rubbing the wall, the Jeffrey, because nobody's afraid of a Jeffrey.
Oh my God. No. Everyone that I know that has done cocaine that has ADHD to my extent and variety, they're like, it just makes you where you're sleepy. So I think if I did like meth, I think that would probably be a little better, but yeah.
Yeah. I like my teeth. I don't want to.
And it's, I made the joke today at my physical where I was like, I don't like needles and blood draws.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, okay. And I was like, that's what kept me from doing heroin. Yeah. And she was like,
She's
what
like,
kept you.
Bend over and spread your butt cheeks.
No, I asked her if I was going to duck walk. And I was like, do I have to duck walk for this?
That's a military thing. That is not just.
She used to make everybody do it. And I was like, why is the duck walk necessary? She goes, oh, because
to see if you'll follow orders and do some stupid shit.
She actually explained it. She's like, it energizes or it engages a comprehensive muscle grouping to make sure you have good balance. You're able to physically go like do blah, 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 blah. She explained it. She goes, it's mostly because we want to make sure you.
What it really is, they like to see your butthole wink. That's it. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's why I asked her.
That is, and it's also to see if you'll do stupid shit.
Yeah,
and they're like, because most of the time it's military. You got some 80-year-old dude watching your butthole as you're duck walking.
Show me that butthole.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So Brent's over here like, what the fuck did I sign myself?
Brent Fuchs.
I listen to the podcast. I know.
Oh, did you listen?
I haven't listened to yours. I got it queued up.
Okay.
No.
No, I was going to listen to it yesterday on the way to an assignment out of town, and then I was like, I've been listening to Richard Burnaby.
Who's that?
He's a wildlife photographer.
Oh, okay, cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I want to listen to this next one. I was really interested in that one.
What's funny is, as many close friends that we have that really support us, they don't always listen. So I would like to, for everybody that's listening right now, that's made it 3 minutes in, please like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share.
Oh, there's that censor button.
Damn it. I missed my chance.
Yeah, you can just
Subscribe.
Yeah. So,
Or Cody will come by and gargle your balls.
I don't know. Maybe there's something supportive about not listening to you if they're really, really good friends. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to know that part of you.
Yeah.
That's because we won't be friends anymore.
the most all of them know we're pretty much the same on air as off air. It's usually just how frustrated I get about the production side of things where they're like, it's just really funny to hear Mop and fuck with you.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Clap. Just clap normally. Yeah. I'll do the sync clap and I'll be like, and then he'll be like,
Because he acts like I've never done production before.
yeah, but you would
I
just
was doing
give me
production when you were dripping out of your dad's ball sack.
Anyway, so
I did production back when it was reel to reel, bitch.
I know. We were talking about that. A little.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is so I'm the 35 and he's 50,000 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm closer to his age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
No. Like, listen, I was reading last night. I was just scrolling through Twitter, and they were showing the ages of different actors in movies.
Oh God!
And the old guy from Braveheart, remember the dad?
Yeah.
He was 47.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm 47.
Yeah. Well, it was like,
He's got some city miles though.
what was it like?
he does. He's not all highway dog.
Al Bundy during that show was like, his character was supposed to be like 43 years old.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, that's a rough 43. Because now you have like, Leonardo, who is,
I thought
50.
you pointed at me. I'm like,
50
I'm not Leonardo.
Well, no, you're not.
Well, the saying, you're not.
But he's
you're not-
like, looks like he's 27 because that's all he dates.
well, the saying, you're not ugly, you're just poor.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, if we don't have the stem cells and
I mean-
all the cologne,
I mean, look,
collagens.
Selma Hayek, J-Lo, Jennifer Aniston prove that point right there.
Oh yeah, all day.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all day.
How you've gotten hotter
with
with age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's uncomfortable at times. We're like, I know some
I'm
people
like looking at J-Lo's ass on TV and it's like she's is like 57. And I'm like, what
the fuck.
the fuck?
Yeah, there was a
It's all that children's blood she's bathing in and the witchcraft. I mean, you think I'm lying.
He's getting into his old age conspiracy theories now.
Dude,
and
I'm
just-
running down some rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I read them.
Yeah. I read them. I don't believe them. That's the
I-
difference.
I love them and I love to make fun of them. But
yeah.
There are some that I'm like, God damn it. That
Did
makes
you-
a lot of sense.
did you ever? Now, when I was, how old are you?
I am 53,
Oh, wow.
53,
I think it's
52.
53.
Okay, so
74?
So
Yeah, 73.
73. Oh, yeah.
in the 90s, it was a real toss up for me between journalism and broadcast,
Yeah.
radio.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be poor, but
Right.
Yeah. I want a life of
I
hardship.
have a journalism degree. Would you like fries with
Yeah,
that?
me too. and you know what? I went in at the right age where they should have said no. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I loved radio. And did you ever listen to Coast AM?
Uh-huh.
Fuck yeah. With George.
Yeah. All of my first cars only had AM radio.
God, you're old.
I mean, no, it's because when you buy a 1960s Volkswagen for $300,
I know. Whatever your parents let you get.
yeah,
Whatever.
and then it was like a Boss head unit, and and I thought I was balling because
Yeah.
I had a $37 head unit that
I mean,
actually
at the
got
time,
FM
that was
radio.
But-
$1,000 unit.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I always encourage people to go seek that show out because it's like what I love about it is all the best conspiracies are on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the host, especially when it's George Norrie, gives no resistance whatsoever.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
open platform. You just go fucking bananas.
And he's like, yeah, totally. Whatever you just said.
Yeah, I love because I have a friend that she's from Nevada and her dad was a big fan of listening to it. Like he'd sit there in the den and have like a glass of bourbon or wine and listen
Right.
to it. And he's like, because it was just a quiet. It's like these are all people that live in the fucking desert.
Yeah.
but it was coast to coast. So he was like, desert people have fucking just bred and expanded. So
Yeah.
he's like, these
Yeah.
people in Arkansas are like, the river monster's coming after us and they're gonna come take my mortgage. They're trying to take my
well, it's
property.
like Alex Jones. Okay,
Oh,
like
yeah. The gay frogs.
if he would not have gone so off the deep end and to like double down on the line where he shouldn't have doubled down
Yeah.
on. There, it's like that was an entertaining show. It was kind of like Jerry Springer, like the whole Jerry Springer era. Like everybody says, blah blah. He was actually a serious journalist, and but,
yeah.
But then it was like he's like fuck.
He was the fucking mayor of
He's
Cincinnati,
well,
dude.
he's like I'm tired of being poor.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I'm making money.
And if you
Get
remember,
mine.
if you remember the early 90s, they were either going one way or the other
Yeah,
because Oprah went the other way.
Yeah.
Yep.
You had Sally Field that was kind of toeing the line for a little bit.
yeah.
And then she decided to go hard right. And then Oprah went hard left. In reasonable sanity. And then but then you had Steve Wilkos and Maury really like I just watched the thing.
I mean, Maury just banked on the whole DNA.
yeah.
Era.
He found his fucking niche. I was watching a thing the other night.
He married a journalist. He didn't become one.
yeah, that's true. That is also
This is
very
true.
true.
This is true.
Yeah.
Because Chang
Connie Chung.
Connie Chung. Yeah.
Who tanked her career right in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. During the bombing.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She got real condescending about
Yeah.
where are the injured going. And they're like, well, at the OU Medical. And she goes, no, I mean like the seriously injured. Like, the most advanced,
Yeah.
Hospital in the city, state.
Yeah.
maybe in the region.
Yeah.
'Cause we had a It was an education hospital. It was
Yep. I do remember that. She got
Is that really what happened? I
and,
didn't know
yeah,
that.
and the backlash was pretty big.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is,
well, and
I felt sorry for her because she was.
There were
just
some
did
other
well.
things too. She was very unsympathetic towards. She was very cold about the event, I think, and while she was here, and so she really pissed off.
yeah.
Was not welcomed. Like she pissed off people basically, and
Right.
just the way she was acting, and kind of like, yeah,
And,
okay.
and I get it. I'm from here.
Yeah.
I kind of have the same.
yeah. Like,
yeah.
like, I mean, I understand it. Like, you know, a lot of people think we're backwards and stuff, but then like, you know, we've had a lot of really smart people that have come either out of here, out of the state, or come to the state to do things. The reason why that we drill directionally now the way we do for oil and gas, like my fifth grade teacher, her dad developed that. He's Canadian. He came here to study oil and gas and figured it out. Like,
Yeah,
he
nobody
made-
cares about that. You have Gary England invented radar.
yeah, that's also a good one. Like, you know, Twister.
God, exactly.
Yeah. If we had just had Wizard of Oz here and not in fucking Kansas. No, but
And it was on the border.
great restaurant. No, not really. Did you see they closed
Who?
on the border? They're like all
They've
done.
Been closed.
Oh, okay. I just saw Twin Peaks is closing or something. I was like, oh man.
All the
Chapter 11.
Oh, okay.
all the Hooters have closed. Well, no, the one on 240 is still open, and it's got a pulse.
Well, that type of restaurant in general, the restaurant
yes,
nationwide is
Yeah.
going away.
yeah.
Because
OnlyFans and air fryers are killing that out.
Well,
I mean, OnlyFans is kind of playing out right now.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not
you know,
making as
it's-
much money as I used to.
you know, it's it's the 20 somethings. They're not drinking, they're not smoking, they're not doing drugs.
yeah.
They're staying at home crocheting. And I've got, my two are 20 and 22 and they're home at,
Yeah.
they're in college at home at 9:00
Yeah.
doing the
I-
appointment to
I-
cats or whatever. It's,
Yeah, they're really
Like it amazes me at like how many people like work that I know and work with that have kids that are like 16, 18, no driver's license, no interest in getting a driver's license. And
oh yeah.
I'm like, I was driving when I was 13. I was like,
Yeah.
it was like I was driving on the farm, and then when I was 15, I'm like, okay, let's get this.
you were talking to Henry Ford himself. And
Yeah,
like, come
I
on, we gotta
mean-
make the Model T better, buddy. Yeah.
I mean, even, when I was driving with my kids when they were 15,
Yeah.
I had to lean over. Do you know what that big pedal does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes car go.
Yeah. You're like, please go to it. And they're
But-
like, no, I don't
And
like
I,
this.
it's great because I don't have to worry about them. But
Yeah.
their
Yeah,
sen-
I
their
see a
sen-
lot-
Their sense of adventure is a lot different than
Yeah. I see a
like
lot
our-
of,
especially our age.
a lot of that where it's like, why don't you get your driver's license? I don't need it. I can Uber. What?
Dude,
I mean, and the example I always use was my kids went to prom. And I remember my oldest is like she's really like building up to ask me for a big, I want to stay out late.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she was home at 11.
You're like, what? Oh, did it just die off on the mic?
Yeah.
Did
Try
it?
it again.
I'm here.
I don't
Yeah.
know. That was weird.
It
yeah,
die-
so
they
yeah.
die off real fast now.
So
Yeah.
she was home like 11:30, and when we were in prom, it was like I'll see y'all suckers on Sunday.
Yeah, dude. Like,
I'm like, we
It must
had
have
a,
been
we
nice
had
to
a
go to
hotel
prom.
room at
Yeah.
the Holiday Inn. Somebody's getting pregnant, and hopefully we're
Now,
not
listen,
getting arrested.
That wasn't me, but I
Hey, I went to
I'm-
Choctaw.
I'm-
We all got pregnant.
well
out
no,
there.
and I'm Facebook Facebook friends from people from high school. And
Yeah.
I'm seeing those grandkids now.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot they had their baby 6 months after high school.
right, right. You're
Yeah.
like, God, man. Oh, yeah. Like, I was class of 09, and there was one fellow student that had a kid before we graduated. And then I think a couple years later, I was probably like 22, 23. And
Okay, hang on.
they first started having kids.
Before we get too far into this, one, fucketh you, Nathaniel, and then
Good way to, I like that one. That's a really good one.
Oh 09.
Oh, yeah. Don't feel bad about it. I would have been 08, but I was too dumb.
and our guest today,
Yeah.
because we're just like all into it.
Yeah.
You want
You wanna introduce
you want
it?
to do your own introduction?
Sure. If it's not long enough, let me know. But
You're like, and I'm done.
I know I don't have a lot of deep thoughts about myself. But my name is Brent Fuchs. I'm a photographer. I live in Edmond.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Stillwater.
Originally from Stilltown. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there
Good.
first 25 years and
Okay. All right.
I got
And-
here 23 years ago.
You did photography. You went to school at UCO, right?
You want a little bit of an education background?
Yeah. Yeah. why
Okay.
not?
Also, do you want to know where these chairs came from?
Go Bronchos.
Where'd they come from?
The Bronchos.
Awesome.
Yeah, we
Well,
got
they,
these on a super sale.
they do look like
Yeah.
yeah.
the School
Students
of Business
at the
lobby.
student
You should
center,
all feel like we're just about to go study for CAS.
What's that?
So,
yeah.
you know, I grew up in Stillwater, and my dad was a professor and my grandpa's a professor.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Okay.
So it wasn't where are you going to college? What are you going to do? It's what's your major at OSU?
Yeah.
So I spent my first semester there as an engineering major.
Oh, cool.
Super boring.
What
Right.
what engineering did you do?
Electric.
Okay, cool.
I will say this. Out of probably all the campuses I've been to in the state of Oklahoma, OSU actually has the most collegiate feeling
Yeah.
and
You know,
looking campus.
and you know, recently I've kind of regretted not just going full hog college.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
was way too ADHD.
oh yeah.
And someone in
yeah.
my family, and this is what I told my nephew when he wanted to start, I was like, don't go to college. Wait 4 or 5 years.
yeah.
And now he's waited
Take
too
a
long.
big gap year.
Yeah, because
yeah.
because I could do the work. It's just I didn't care
Right.
whatsoever.
Right.
Because my first year I was delivering pizzas, making good money.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I had StarCraft at home,
Oh my god. StarCraft.
and I just wanted to go goof off with my friends.
Yeah. Totally.
yeah.
Understandable
Same.
and natural. Yeah.
So I
was
did
drinking
I did horrible. And I'll tell you what's funny is I came home from lunch one day in mid semester. I lived with my grandparents. So after church, I come home and there's my English professor who also I did not know go to church with us. He's a young guy, was sitting at the table because my grandparents were having dinner with my grandpa's professor, and he would
Yeah.
like mentor other professors.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And to his credit, he did not mention that I came to 2 classes and never showed up again. And he may not have remembered me.
yeah.
I mean,
he probably didn't.
Yeah.
So then I took a semester off and everybody panicked. I have a bachelor's and I'm the dumbest person in my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I ended up going to NOC to raise my grades, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I had already been in photography for a while because I got a camera when I was young, but I took a photography class there, and that was kind of it. So my advisor, when I decided to stay, he was a photographer, and they owned a
Right.
studio in town. So I stuck it out there for 2.5 years,
Nice.
Okay.
and then I took while my ex-wife graduated at OSU, I took 2 years off and played disc golf and worked at Radio Shack.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
What years were you at Radio Shack?
Dude, I love it. Was it in Heritage Park Mall or
2000
over on 15th?
Stillwater.
Okay.
you're
Stillwater. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so 2002, 2003-ish.
Yes, the Zip Zaps were there, and then the X Mods were coming out.
Mhm.
I know that because that's what I grew up racing RC cars with. But the Zip Zaps were the little
Well,
guys.
that's where I learned how to solder and all the capacitors. And
I miss
resistors
Radio
and-
Shack legitimately.
Now listen,
fucking
there's
every
still
day.
some around.
Yes,
There are.
They're small towns.
Yeah.
They're like they're independently owned, I guess. Or
Yeah, I found there's one in Woodward.
okay, yeah,
There's
yeah.
one in a little town in the Panhandle,
Uh,
the Panhandle of Texas. Between here and if you go to the
Amarillo.
I-40 and go up to Guyman, there's this highway, and there's
I
Dumas.
think it's the one that's in Borger.
It's Dumas.
Is it in Dumas or is it in Borger?
It's in Dumbass.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was gonna say,
it's Texas. Everything's
Yeah.
dumbass.
Yeah.
dude. That's where I got my fucking
Smells
insane-
like cow shit up there.
Yeah, that's where I got my insane speeding ticket at, so I don't go through Demas anymore.
But so then my ex graduated, and she said, "You're getting your bachelor's," and I said, "I am." So came to UCO
Yeah,
Go
the Bronchos.
Go Bronchos.
because it had the only photojournalism program.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. Fellow.
Hi, it's me.
Class of 2005.
Really?
Go Bronchos. Yeah. I got my degree in photojournalism.
In 2005?
Yeah.
What year did you get yours in?
2005.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, how did you guys plan this? And this
Now listen.
is this my intervention?
No. Here's the thing though, that I'm constantly meeting people that I went to college with at UCO
Yeah.
who I don't know, because by that time I was married and I had a baby at home, and
yeah.
I was a little bit antisocial already. So I went to class, got my crap done,
Yeah.
and went home.
I started, and actually, I was when I started, I was doing graphic design, and I was minoring in photography, and then again had kids, and one had special needs and required 24-hour care. And with graphic design, you have to be just a whore to work for no money, and so I flipped it to being poor. And so I switch it to photojournalism.
So the only person I kept up with is a good friend of mine, Chastity Roselle.
Okay.
If you know her, she's a great photographer. She does portrait work.
Yeah, I kept up. So I was friends with there was a guy, Paul Riedel. We both interned with David McNeese.
Oh, yeah.
And then Ashley Dawn, she was Stephen Hughes' girlfriend. So me and Stephen went to high school together, but she dropped out. She was a tattoo artist, and then a friend of mine, Leslie, she is down in Dallas.
It's surprising how many people that I hear about who I went were, and this works for NOC or UCO, who were photography majors, and how few were still doing it.
Yeah. I mean, most people I know from when she was in journalism, they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I was a photojournalist. It was a double whammy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing.
Well, because I went from there when I graduated, I got on at the paper and worked for the Oklahoman.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I was doing all their look at OKC drunk people bullshit. So I was like their competition with the Gazette, basically. So I was all the drunk people in the bars in the back and in the back of the magazine and shooting concerts and stuff. And right out of UCO, my last semester, I started working for the Gazette. Okay, yeah.
Worst paying job I ever had.
I bet.
Editor Patrick?
I don't remember.
Or I don't know. Yeah.
Dingleberry 1 or 2. But
Yeah.
I mainly worked with...
You say worst paying. Yes. Oklahoma was that way too.
No. Gazette paid $10 per assignment, not $10 per hour.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they put me on the hook for this spring with all that snow. And they said, we just lost our one photographer. We had two. And I forget who was the photographer's name because I really liked her.
I know.
Anyway,
it was Kong Chung.
No.
And so they're like $10 an hour, but $10 an assignment, no matter how long it took, no matter where it was.
Yeah.
But
you're working for peanuts, dude.
Yeah. But I was still in college.
Yeah.
I was getting published.
Yeah.
So I took the hit.
And we're like,
I mean, I get it.
We're whores for senior name and print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've seen mine a couple times just from bullshit things I've done. I'm like, I didn't go to school for it. Like it's cool, but
so the look stuff, I was getting like 30 an hour, and I was like, okay.
So they strung me along and said, we had two photographers. We lost one, and we're going to hire another
How'd they lose
one.
him? Like in the field?
No, he like went to the.
No, they're like, fuck you. And
fuck this. I'm going to go do anything else but this shit.
Well, and that's before I knew they had kind of a reputation for being difficult to work with.
Yeah.
They pulled me in like May, and because I was done with college and like we're ready to hire someone. So I went to this committee, had this great interview, and I asked for $10 an hour. And this is like
totally reasonable at the time.
like 2006 or 7. And
Oh, dude, yeah. When I was working at a scooter shop, I was making $9 an hour, and I was like, I'm doing pretty fucking good. I was in high school.
Yeah.
So they ended up hiring someone who's willing to take minimum wage.
Yeah.
At the time was like $6.75.
Yeah.
I was like, no. I mean, I didn't even like respond to that.
No, that's just not. That's like,
So before I graduated, I went to the whole Candid Color spiel thing, over there.
Did you work there or did you just go through it?
No. I just went through it because they were like, come, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, go take school pictures. And so I'm like, doing the math up in my head. And I'm like, this sucks. Like, you want me to do what? And drive. We're like, you would pick up the equipment. You would not get paid.
Nope.
Like drive time. We want you to drive to Guyman, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You have to pick up your equipment at 4:20 in the morning. So you can be there at 7, and then you would not get paid.
That was the thing that was
driver mileage. And so I'm like, well, that's all your fucking money.
Yeah. So when I worked there, when I was doing the OU stuff, they would bring equipment on location for you.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to go do that. That was the benefit. So all the school photographer guys were going out of that and going into the OU stuff and the OSU. And because I show up at the stadium and you have my fucking rig ready for me. Okay, cool. Good.
Yeah.
Because they were all tired of shit about, I had to drive down over by Whitewater Bay, pick up shit and go. Cause they wouldn't let you carry it overnight. It was like, oh my God, there's $1,000 worth of shit in here. And it's like, motherfucker, I want to be the fucking wrongful termination or the wrongful death lawsuit over this is going to quickly eat that up.
So no, I went through the whole deal, sat there, and people like at the end they're filling out applications, and I just kind of spun it around and slid it back and was like, I'm good. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, this sucks. You get fucked.
When I was in college, someone I knew either worked for them full time or part time. And he called me and said, we had someone drop out and we have to have someone.
Yeah. Please
and
come here.
They had me go help cover a prom in Perry.
Right.
Okay, so by the time I was at UCO, I had already gone through NSC. I'd already worked for a couple of really good photographers.
Yeah.
So I'd had some experience on me. So I go to this thing and they're like, we just need you to do candid. And they had this like 12-year-old doing portraits with lighting.
Right.
And had no clue what he was doing.
Yeah, because they just set him up and they're like, you just hit the button right here.
Yep.
And no one there knew what they were doing.
Yeah, it's bad.
It was rough. And even the person who I had to deal with later was I shooting? Yeah, digital was still kind of new to them.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of was a little lost on what to do.
Yeah.
And it was a good learning experience of don't ever work with them again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's one of those things that's interesting because I've also met people who do it and love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so when I started with Look, it was originally like kind of the same thing. They're like, oh shit, we had one of the photographers didn't like turn in their stuff. And so when I'm going to air quote photographers, because when it initially started, because this was like supposed to be the young hip magazine, right? So their idea, it was one of the managing editors' ideas was like, we'll get college kids because they go out and party and like they can go out and take all these pictures.
They're not wrong on that
They're not
thought.
wrong,
but
they go out and party.
Yeah.
So you have college kids, you're sending them to a club to take pictures. And then when you get pictures back, they're blurry, they're out of focus, they're getting hammered drunk, and they're in selfies in every one. They're not getting names or anything. And so like they would get all these pictures back and they're like, fuck, we can't use any of them.
Yeah.
Because
I know someone who recently did a Candid Killer thing and they were talking about how many people, like there were too many photographers. I was like, well, that's because they're all 20. They're hoping that 2 out of that 10 are competent enough.
Yep.
So
yeah. So I started doing it and I first stepped in and was like, I'll do one. And then like kind of went on and I'm like, oh, that was an easy $100. And then like next week I was like, hey, I could probably do 2. And like slowly, there were 6 photographers and then there was 1.
Yeah.
There
can be only one.
Yeah. So because I had it figured out, like I would go out, they're paying me $30 per assignment. I need 20 pictures per assignment. So per place, I could go out on Friday. I could hit 6 places in about 2 hours. And I had it down to where I'm making right at 90 an hour when you figure out, because I would go in, I could do 20 shots in about 20 to 30 minutes. So my goal was 30 minutes per spot. I'm not drinking. I'm going up. Hey, can I take a picture? Click, name, move on, go next. Because to me, it was time is money.
Yeah.
If I go out and spend 6 hours or if I go out and spend 30 minutes, I'm getting paid the same rate. So if I do it faster, it's more money. And then the flip side of that is people don't realize when you take pictures, it's editing, so it's almost a 2-for-1. If you shoot for an hour, you're going to be editing for about 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And so you got to figure that in too. So I would go in and Sunday I would like batch all my photos and I'd have to add names in them and then upload them. But I had it down to where it was like, okay, done. And then for a while it was like I was doing that and I was making, $300 a weekend and times 4, it's like, oh, there's my mortgage payment. And I'm like, oh,
and this was at the Oklahoman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
this is where
This
it
is
gets
a little different.
it gets a little wonky because I was on staff.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to ask.
But no, so I was technically double dipping because my photo editor one time, because I was actually on staff with the Oklahoman. And so I would do freelance photography for them. I was not on staff as a photographer. I was on staff started out in the photo research department. And so I was scanning in old photos and like if somebody came in and, hey, we need a picture of when Michael Jackson came through Oklahoma, I go into the archives, pull it out. And then I moved into, I was the assistant database editor. And so, but I was always, the photo editor knew I had a photojournalism degree. And so he was always, like, what are you doing? What are you taking pictures? And then there was a couple times when we were like, hey, we need somebody to go shoot 2 photos at this restaurant, And I'm like, okay. And they're like, it pays 125.
Oh, so you got to be full time and freelance. That's cool.
No, yeah, and
Yeah,
so
that's why.
well,
Yeah.
and then because then my photo editor one time was like, "Hey, that's we're probably really not supposed to be paying you this," and I was like, "You shut the fuck up."
You shut your mouth.
And I'm like, I was just like, dude, this pays my mortgage. Like,
And then 5 years later, they fired half the staff.
Dude.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, and so I learned that.
I was in round 2.
Yeah. I learned that at an early age. If you are double dipping in the sense where they started it and they did it first, I don't feel as bad about it. If you make it very clear and evident, hey, I'm doing this because of this and I need to go do this, and they don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Communicate like, hey, like whatever. When I first started out at the scooter shop, it will remain nameless because, still nice guys, but
Atomic Brown.
yeah, whatever. No, but I was assembling all their scooters, PDI, and I was getting paid $100 per scooter because they were charging $130 for the dock fee for that.
Yeah.
And then so I would do like 10 fucking Friday. I was making fucking good money. And then they're like, do you want to come on and work here like part-time? And I was like, yeah, because I'm in high school. I don't know any better. And they're like, $7 an hour. And I was like, okay. And I was getting paid hourly.
Hey.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to do that anymore. And I asked to go back to getting paid per bike. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. And then I wrecked a bike and they were like, we don't need your employment anymore. I was like, fuck, okay, whatever. But like, there's been a lot of times where I've been in several different places where, hey, we can't do this because this is too small for us to do it. If you'd like to get with them, you're by all means go do that.
Yeah.
Candid Photography was one of the few where they're like,
Yeah.
if you break out a camera for doesn't matter, your baby,
Yeah.
your parents, your wife, you better fucking give them a little email slip.
See,
We want to sell them.
I was fortunate. I worked when I was at the Journal Record.
yeah.
Because my boss, his kids were in school with my kids, like the same age.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there were several other people, they had kids. And it was just but it was a great job because it really was 8:30 to 5.
Right.
That's
Because
not
it was a business newspaper.
Yeah.
So it was Monday through Friday. So if I did a weekend, is because they asked nicely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I had a couple of known nights, like election night was always
Yeah.
we had some events.
Right.
But I also needed to freelance, and they were, my boss was supportive of that.
Right.
But before I went there, I interviewed with the Edmund Sun,
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
and she and the person who offered me the job was taking orders from her boss from out of town
Yeah.
because they were owned by CH&I, and she's like, I've been authorized to offer you $10 an hour, and you can't freelance for anybody. And I said, what about magazines? And she goes, no, nobody. I was like, that's a pay cut.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a pretty substantial
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And at the time, I was working at the Apple store and freelancing,
Yeah.
and that would have been a pay cut working from home because they had a no tolerance policy for allowing freelance outside of
Right,
things.
yeah. Right.
And then they own everything you shoot,
Yeah.
and now they're out of business. But
No,
The Edmund Sun's out of business, or they're
they've been out of business.
I mean,
for
I
some
just-
time.
yeah.
okay, so this is crazy if you don't know this. So
No, I
the
don't.
Edmund Sun's owned by CH&I,
Okay.
who's owned by the Alabama Retirement System,
Okay.
and
Yeah. Okay.
And
yep. Sure.
and just because I know people who work there, they were making a big enough profit that if they'd been owned locally, they'd still be in business.
yeah.
But the
Okay.
retirement system said, you're not making enough profit for our retirees, so we're going to close you, quote unquote, merge you with the Norman Transcript, which lasted like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And merge means we're going to fire everybody,
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
and then we're going to sell the real estate.
Yeah, because they had that really cool building right
Yeah,
over off
yeah.
of Second and Broadway.
Yeah, so they sold that. It's been remodeled, but they're still the only remaining remnant of them is the print shop. They print
Yep.
for other like school newspapers and other newspapers.
Yeah,
So-
that's because they still have this like the marquee sign up there at the front of the building, right?
No, there is a statue or something.
There's the newsboy statue.
There's
the
a newsboy
fucking statue.
the
gets
newsboy
me.
statue.
So
yeah.
we used to help with this around the corner. It was at the rail yard, and it was Eben Bike Night. And every goddamn time I left to go south on Broadway,
Yeah.
I would see that kid, that statue, and be like, "Come on, man,
Yeah.
ride your bike across the street," and wait because it's like I just see him over there.
Because they also printed the UCO
Yeah, that
paper,
one.
and then they
And
had
they ended up putting
Zimmerman kind of worked for him or had something worked out where Mark Zimmerman, who he was
Yeah,
at
he
the
was
time,
he was staff photographer there for
he
a
was
while.
staff photographer for a while, and then he came over as an adjunct professor, and so he would do almost like a photojournalism intern,
yeah, like
where they would take a couple and like basically free labor, you know.
the thing about that is I know it's so weird to hear you guys being in the journalism industry that's so prevalent and important to make sure like it does continue.
Yeah.
And it's free labor on so much shit. And then from the engineering side, we're like, I never met an intern that wasn't paid and usually paid more than what I made per hour.
Yeah.
And like, motherfucker, I'm teaching you and I'm doing the work of like 18 other people over here.
Well, I mean, like, to be fair, it was, as far as photography goes, it's pretty cutthroat because you do have people who are like, I'll work for nothing. I'll work 27 hours a day. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And there's good sides.
They're like, if it bleeds, it leads.
Good sides and bad. I mean, part of that was when I was at the paper, like the photo editor, he knew I had journalism, photojournalism degree. And he also like knew.
Backstory.
So staff photographers were kind of prima donnas. Like there's sometimes where they're like, I don't want to shoot that job. I don't want to go on that side of town.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do that. And so they would be like, okay. And so they're like, we'll get some freelance to do it. And I'd be like, hi, I'll do it. And so I would be doing stuff on the east side. I'd be doing stuff on the south side, you know?
And it kind of feels like sometimes you'll meet like editors and you'll say, I majored in photojournalism. They go, oh, I found a sucker.
Yeah.
If they fell for that, they'll fall for it.
Right.
Yeah, they'll do anything.
But what was nice was I liked, my photo editor was really good, even though he, not being under him, he was always like, what did you take pictures of? Did he come into work today? And he'd be like, what did you take pictures of today? And I'm like, I drove into work. And he's like, unacceptable. Like you should be, like, I want to see like every day, show me, you should be getting B-roll. Like you never know. And so there'd be times when I'd be out somewhere and it's like, oh, there's a car fire. And so I'd stop and take some pictures and I'd be like, text him, hey, there's a car fire over here on Western. Send it to me.
That's what I was being at a business newspaper is I would chase down fires and bring them in. And my editor's like, who cares?
Yeah.
That was what, so what was, it's interesting that because the sheriff worked at K4 for a while. And then so there were so many people that were like, I want to be in media, but I didn't get to college for it. And they'd like get these people that would like consistently send shit in. Like, oh, hey, I got it's a cell phone photo or I got, whatever. Right. And they did get the story a lot of times early because so-and-so just kept calling into the news desk. But it was like, it's so weird.
There was one day when I had taken off and I was going to go storm chasing. And
he was going to go masturbate in the field. Let's not.
Yeah. I mean, and so I was going out to Texas Panhandle and, but that morning it's like I had a doctor's appointment. It was an Indian hospital. And so, going down to Ada that morning, get back at about the same time and be leaving to go do this. Well, as we're driving down, like I'm in pasture, my mom's driving, and we're out like Tecumseh, right? And I'm looking and I'm like, what the fuck? Because I see a body. And I'm like, was that really a body or was that like Halloween decorations? It was nowhere near Halloween, right? And so
in January?
Yeah. Mom turns around, and like it was a deceased person had, hung himself. And so I'm like getting out the old Canon 70 to 200 and because call the police. And so I'm zooming in to see like, is this really a person? The way it was situated, it would look like a real body. Did not look like a mannequin. And so I'm like, click, click. And I just remember my mom's like the look on her face, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I didn't tell my mom those stories.
Well, she was there. She was there. Because I'm like, let me look in, and I'm click, click. And so then, fast forward, get back, go storm chasing, get all these tornadoes that come across, Panhandle, and a beautiful tornado. Like, I mean, it's most photogenic. It come across this field that is just plowed up, so it's all white, and then at the bottom of it is the red dirt's kicked up. And so the next morning I go into work and so photo editor's like, what'd you get pictures of? And I'm like, oh, I got this tornado, this. And he looks at me, he's like, why the fuck didn't you call me? And I was like, he's like, I would have ran that front page, 1A. And I'm like, oh. And he's like, no, here. And he like, show me what you have. And so I'm going through his camera and I told him about the body first. And so he was like, did you get pictures?
Of the body?
Yeah. And I said, yeah. And he's like, good boy. And I was like, so he actually helped me and was like, hey, I've got a contact at the AP and Reuters. Like, they might be interested in this because it was a big storm. It killed like 6 people and went across from
So jovial
Texas.
about how no.
But it went across Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas. And so I ended up selling my storm photos, and it was like $3,000, and I was like, at the time, that was the most I had ever sold.
Wow.
But it like got published 146 newspapers. And
when I was at the Journal Record, one of my duties was uploading to the AP.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. And my boss would, every once in a while, he'd say, yeah, the AP used to pay extra to directly the photographer for those. He goes, but they don't do that anymore. I'm like, well, just stop telling me about it. 'Cause
Yeah, don't tell me that, because now I'm just like, damn it. Yeah, that's the industry has changed so much too. Just like I have a friend that's like wanting to do some print stuff right now, and he's like, yeah, I used to get paid this much to be able to do this, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, but it's print. Like, there's not really but I'm hoping it works out because I really want him to have that successful, little thing going on for him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that one is a very killer
so
shot.
I met, so I came into photography. So I came into so my first career in photography when I went to NOC was very oriented toward portrait photography.
Uh-huh.
And I worked for portrait photographers, great portrait photographers.
Yeah.
And then I went back for photojournalism because that sounded exciting.
You're like, yeah.
So, but when I got out, I wanted to shoot for magazines and publications, and
Yeah.
and it was an interesting time because all the pay scales had just switched
Yeah.
downwards.
Yep.
And I met who was the guy JD who
JD Merriweather?
Merriweather.
yeah
Yeah.
and he told me the story of how much he used to make for
Yep.
a cover for Oklahoma Today.
Yeah.
They don't pay that. I mean,
No, he
and-
was telling. So the second time I ever meet him, he lived not too far north of here. So I go up there and I'm hanging out, and he's like, hey man, have this beer and all that stuff. And he's showing me all of his photography in his house. He's got this cool like mid-century modern house and all that stuff. I'm like, oh man, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, I used to shoot for Bring a Trailer. They fly me out. And I was like, oh, that's cool. He's like, well, it's Cobra. It's an AC Bristol Cobra. So, it's one off, not one off, but he was telling me how much he got paid for that. And I was like, Jesus. I'm like, he's like,
Yeah.
but that was before everyone had a iPhone that they're doing pretty decent work with.
So photographers just a little bit older than me had this whole different reality than I've ever had.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
You're getting beaten down, and they're over here like, man, I don't do that work unless paid
Well,
10 rent.
I in a way I think it's good because I've never known that paycheck.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've had to make my way in a different way
Yeah.
and be more diverse because I couldn't specialize in just magazine photography
Right.
in Oklahoma, especially.
Yeah.
That's what I learned working for like in McNeese, because I worked for him for like 2 years.
I was going to internship. I don't think he liked me.
Yeah, he was weird. The people he liked, he was like, I don't know, he loved you, and if he didn't, then didn't give you the time of day. But I will tell you this: I was a fucking pack mule for 2 years. Now I did learn, and I will tell you, I learned more from him in lighting because he was the type of photographer he wasn't that like. I want to say we were about the same age. He wasn't that much older than me. He just had a lot of connections from his family. But we would go in I would go in, load up everything, get all the lighting set up the way he liked it. And, that was the big thing, was learning how he liked everything to be lit. Cause he really did. He was the first commercial photographer that I really saw like actually use light as a tool. And so learning that, and then he would come in, basically, you'd hand him a camera and it's click, and it's like, oh yeah, that was $20,000.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got lunch out of it.
Well, I had a different but similar experience in Texas. I spent some time in Dallas working for a portrait photographer.
Yeah.
He was a very classical portrait photographer. Now his camera, he bought an RB67 and got out of the Navy and was still using it.
Yeah.
But that's what I did. I did all his setups and
Yep.
metering.
Yep.
And through all the internships I did and all that stuff for portrait stuff, I did a lot of just holding reflectors and setting up stands and I think
Like I said, I was pack mule.
so let me bring this around a little bit. So I was photographing Chef Kurt, Leishan long name, and he was being interviewed by, now he's passed away, but a friend of mine, Scotty Arani.
Yep.
And he used to write
R.I.P.
stories.
Scotty. Yep.
He used to write stories and I used to photograph.
Okay. Yeah.
And we did a lot together.
Yeah.
Like that. So he was interviewing Chef Kurt, and they were talking about how chefs are educated, and you go work for another chef,
Right.
and that used to exist in photography. And I kind of got nostalgic for the fact that just doesn't exist anymore.
Nope.
No, not really, not at all. Like
Yeah.
you might have like the Bedford ones where they do the third Thursday walk, where you at least try to go out and collaborate with some other people. That's the closest thing I see anymore. Like I don't really see anybody going out and saying, "Hey, come work for me."
Well, and I think it's two things. I think one, equipment is more efficient now. I don't need a pack mule to carry everything I need.
Yeah.
But I also think, on the other hand, when I was starting out, I would go assist with a wedding for peanuts, and I remember I would go shoot weddings for a guy, and he'd hand me a Hasselblad and 10 rolls of film and say, "You can mess one up."
Yeah.
You can mess one up.
That's one image per roll. And a lot of pressure, but you learned.
Yeah.
But I was willing to go do that. And then when, I'd say like 14 years ago, I remember talking to a couple students at UCO. I said, "Hey, I've got a wedding come up. I need an assistant." They'd say, "Well, I need $1,000 because I'm in business." I was like, "Well, you're going to make more money that day than I am."
Yeah. No shit.
Yeah.
I'm doing a $600 wedding and you want $1,000, and they, "Well, I'm in business." And it's like,
okay.
And now they're not, and people I've kept up with, and they're no longer photography because learn.
Right. And I get that. There were jobs I would hustle and do, and there were jobs that sometimes I may do it cheaper if it's the situation calls for it. But for the most part, it's like I got to where, especially being photojournalism, it was like hourly. I just priced myself, and I was like $100 an hour, and people would be like, "Wow." And I'm like, it's $100 an hour. I don't care what it is, because for that was kind of where I was at on my time and everything else. But
I think
it worked for me for the most part. But
and I'll preach, charge your worth. But that's a two-way street.
Yeah.
If you're a year out of college or have never gone to college, your worth may be a lot less than you think it is.
Yes.
That was the biggest thing that when I first started really shooting and people were like, "Well, how much do you want?" I'm like, "I don't know, like $10, $15, like beer money, man." Like, and then I got bombarded with a bunch of people where it was like, I'm cutting a lot of people's throats, I feel like. So I'm doing the photos they want. I'm doing a pretty good job with it, and I'm pretty happy with it. They're happy with it. But like you start getting 5-6 people that are calling me every day about like, "Hey, can you do this and this?" I'm like, why are you calling me? Like, I don't have a portfolio that's like publicly available. Like, I'm not a name that's known. Like, unless, hey, you're busy and can you do this for me?
Yep.
Would you do, and like, or like, hey, who would you trust to do this photography for you? That's great. And if that was what they said, but like, "Oh no, we went into someone else and we just wanted to get some quotes." I'm like, it's this much per hour. And it's 1 per 1. So if I shoot for 30 minutes, you only get charged for an hour. But if I shoot for an hour, you're getting charged for 2. If I'm out on site for shooting for 2 hours, you're getting charged for 4 hours. And they're like, "What?" I'm like, go find someone else who's going to do it cheaper because I really don't need to do this. And also, you're cutting someone else's throat over here. That's probably like someone that you guys have way more experience with it.
I don't know.
I'm not scabbing anybody.
No, I don't think you are. I I took classes at with this business coach, and that's one of the things we talked about was this false sense of scarcity in business.
Yeah.
Because I would say if you don't get that client, they weren't your client.
Yeah, exactly.
Your client's still out there looking for you.
That was my thing too.
And then I never, when I would tell people that, and then they were like, "Oh, I don't want to do that." I was so busy the next weekend.
People were afraid to say no to business because it's like, "Oh, I'm never going to get business again." And when I set a fixed price, because I was like, okay, I was between $100 and $125 an hour. That was just my rate. If you want me to go someplace for days, you're paying for travel, lodging, it's like, we'll work that out. But for the most part, it was just, this is what I get paid when I do my freelance work. Yeah. Like, this is what I will charge.
Yeah.
And you never, like, the business didn't go away. There were some that did go away, but there were others that were like, okay.
Yeah. When I threw out a number, like, so what mine's 75. So I'm like, if you want me to do it, whatever. And I'm like, if you want me to travel, we'll work a deal out. Cause I'm not gonna charge you $75 an hour to just drive.
Yeah.
But whenever they were like, "Nope, I don't," "Well, can you do it for $50 an hour?" I'm like, "Nope." I said, it's $25 less an hour. And those people always were going to be annoying because I would refer them to someone else that kind of maybe knew. And I'm like, "Well, how was that?" And they're like, "Oh God."
can you take my pictures? Can we trade for your portfolio? And I'm like, I don't need any help.
I don't need to build any fucking thing else in my life.
If I am doing stuff for my portfolio, I'm going to be spending money on a makeup artist. I'm going to be spending money on a studio to do a shoot. So it's like, and I want a model that I'm not going to have to tell you like, hey, move your hand this way, move, like, don't stay in the same position every time I click the button, because there's a big difference that people, I will not say just girls, but people don't understand the difference between a model who has modeled professionally and somebody that is just pretty that thinks they could be a model.
Yeah.
It's like
The boss's daughter.
Yeah. No, they're night and day.
Yeah.
Because when I shot, because I did some shoots for Maxim magazine, and it was like, they're bending into the positions because they know that it looks weird in person, but on paper and print, it looks good.
It looks what you're trying to sell.
And then you don't have to, you tell them, I want to do this, and you give them a big general idea, and they move, they're changing their positions. They're doing the faces and not just standing there like, what do I do with my hands? But
I will say there is a time and place for models that are professional.
Yeah.
Because, you may get a client who says, I don't have that budget. And you're like, well, this is where we can save.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Well, and it's value engineering on a lot of things too. But like at the same time, like if they're coming to you to slit your own throat to begin with, that's not good. That's not going to be a good time. If you've done a couple projects together and they're like, hey, like we normally pay X amount of dollars. We were trying to get this one off the ground. Hopefully it's going to grow, but like can we diminish the budget a little bit? That's one thing.
And modeling is like anything else. They need to start somewhere. So if you know someone who likes doing it and would take any amount, 50, 100, $200 for the day.
I did my share of like, we'll do some shots, and if I needed something, if it benefits me, it's like, I'm not going to pay, there's enough out there. But, there were times when you could tell people who took it seriously versus, the boss's daughter and it's like, bro,
just wants to wear the nice clothes that day.
Yeah. Or like, why are you doing that with your face? It's like, turn this way, lift your chin up, turn it this, turn your head this way, turn your waist and put your foot this way. So it makes your waist look slimmer. And really? You're like,
but I also feel like, doing so much work in the portrait world with just average people. A lot of that's on us too.
Oh, I get it. Like it's with posing. It took me a while to learn posing.
That posing is like the lighting.
It was that to me was more scary.
Yeah.
Like being in it because it's like, I'm doing homework, studying. Okay. You want to do this. And then actually getting in it. You're like, fuck, I just forgot everything.
Yeah.
I had thought about.
So, and you could be really good at posing.
Yeah.
And then you had a second person in that photo. Yeah. And it all falls apart.
Yeah. Cause you're just like, fuck. Yeah. So when you were down in Dallas doing that, dude, I've got so many of this where I'm like, oh, that was really good. No, you're not married anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were down in Dallas doing the portrait stuff, like, did they teach you quite a bit? Like, or
no, by then I'd graduated from NOC. I'd worked for other people.
Okay.
That job, I was expected to, already know what I know.
Okay. Yeah.
I jumped into that one. And that was at a time, and this is just how old I am, when a lot of the older photographers were never going to learn Photoshop.
Yeah.
So that was part of your job.
You better know how to better know how to chop it up. Yeah.
Yep.
And
that's why do you think I still use Bridge? Everybody's like,
fucking
move to Lightroom, and I'm like, I can do it. I can do everything in Bridge.
Yeah,
and 10 times faster.
That beard says I still use Bridge.
You know what?
He's like so mad at me when I'm like, so I hand edit every photo I look at, and I know you want me to batch edit and all that stuff. I just never learned that, and I don't need it.
I hand edit. I will batch edit, and when I say edit, like if I go somewhere and I shoot 1,000 photos, I'm gonna cut that down to about 30. And so I'm going to go in and it's literally like click, 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 start. It's like I can just, and I don't know what is it looking at it. And I can tell you in a second.
Yeah. Well, and same thing. I do the same shit on every one. I just don't want to do I don't want to do the batch. So, I just feel like I'm too disconnected from it.
I've been in Lightroom since it came out.
Yeah.
And when I worked in the newspaper, I think this comes from working in the newspaper because we had 4 reporters.
Yeah.
We were responsible for 2 stories a day, and which means I was supposed to get a photo for each story, but really averaged about 6 a day.
Right.
And so I would go out at 8:30. I needed to be done at 4 to get the deadline by 5.
Right.
So I download everything, and I have to go through all those.
Yeah.
And after many years of doing that, now I can sit down with a session and pick out my photos in 10 minutes. Or
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been freelancing for the Guthrie News Leader,
Yeah.
and I'll go shoot a basketball game. It takes me about 30 minutes, and I've got all mine picked out and
Yeah.
ready to go. And,
Yeah.
it's just I tell people it's just quick by repetition. You just need to keep doing it,
Yeah.
and be in a hurry, and you'll.
Yeah.
Have a
And
deadline.
seeing it, and I don't know what it is, but it's like, I'll get there. Okay. Nope.
Yeah.
Yes. Nope.
Yeah, you just get used to-
Nope.
Yeah.
And people are like, how do you know? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just something.
That one spoke to me.
It's just
Yeah.
it's just experience.
Yeah.
There's no other.
Yeah.
There's no
It's
education.
like,
for
I don't
it.
like the angle of the head right there. Look, it's better in this one. Oh yeah, that is better. And it's
So this is something that always makes me laugh. I have a really good friend, you know him, Evans. His parents used to run a bunch of different newspapers around in Western Oklahoma. And so he wanted me to do some photography stuff for him. And I like to shoot landscapes and cars and shit. I don't have to be like, hey, move the fin. It's
Yeah.
there. I'm working around it. And so he was like, here's some stuff from my passed away father that he really enjoyed because he was a photojournalist for a lot of the newspapers. So because they would run them and he would print them and all that shit. And so he's like the photographer's eye. And he just always, every time he talks to me about something, he'll be like, you just got the photographer's eye. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck does that mean?
Well,
He's-
yeah.
I know what he means, but I'm like,
Well, that's like with
I shot his engagement photos. I was like, here's 100 images. You go pick out what you like.
Yeah. At UCO, you
How
had
was the weather on that high horse?
yeah,
No. How's the view from that tower? It's
it
very
just,
poor.
it just reminds me of all the photographers I ever knew who they thought they were really special.
I'm like, dude, I'm just a dude with a fucking camera.
Yeah.
I'd shoot on that thing.
And my dad used to tell me, my dad had his PhD in educational psychology. And he used to talk about how creativity really doesn't exist.
Okay.
It's all just experience.
yeah,
Fair. And creativity is just you're intelligent enough to pull all those experiences together.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like, oh, I already done this. So I'm gonna do it different this time. Or this.
I like this color
I
and this
was-
color. Yeah.
I was inspired by this 20 years ago. So now I'm going to pull it together on this photo.
Yeah.
yeah.
So all photography is just experience.
Yeah.
And if you're good at it,
and
you've just done
stealing
ton
and
of it.
stealing. You know, because
Yeah.
look, I
Oh,
used
now
to
listen.
I used to look through magazines and would like, ooh, I like that picture.
So this was my actual. I saw I adjunct at Rose State for a little while,
uh-huh.
and this is what I told them in class. I said, if you see something you like, just duplicate that.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And then,
Yeah.
innovate it in your own way, and then figure a way
Yep.
to merge it into what you do.
Yeah.
Because you may not like that, because there's some lighting things or action things that are just impractical everyday things for what you do. But there's something you can learn from that. So go figure that out
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
duplicate it. The first step is just
Go redo that.
Well, that's how I would look at pictures, and it's like, okay, figure out where's my main light, and so you're looking at reflection in somebody's eyes or the shadows, or like, where's the key light, where's your fill light, okay, I bet there's a light over here, I bet there's a light over here, and so it's like I would have a piece of paper and you're drawing like,
Yeah.
oh, that's how that's set up, and then I would go in the studio and like, okay, I want to set this up here,
I'm gonna
and
try
up
this.
here, and you like do it, and you're like, huh, okay.
That is how it
And
works.
then, like you said, you kind of play on it and like doing this. And then I remember I saw somebody do this one time, and you do it, and then everybody's like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" And you're like, "Yeah, thank you. I don't know how I did that."
There's a whole lot of in my life where I'm
Yeah.
like,
I will
you
tell you,
just know, man.
and I'd say never stop doing that. It's
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
need to always be learning.
well, that's like I got
and
into
practicing.
I got into an argument with
I worked on cars. I was like, this was not my thing.
I got into an argument one time with Mark Zimmerman, and this is back in the early digital days. So it was like Canon, I think I had a 20D, and we were talking about long exposure photos because I like doing long exposure, like night stuff. And so the way I learned is with long exposure is you click and you hold that button. You don't layer 1,000 photos in Photoshop,
Yeah.
to me. And so we were talking about how with digital photos, you can't do a long exposure because of like heat. You'll get comes through as, pixelates out or light, on the sensor. And I was like, bullshit, And so I had actually gone to Vegas and during like a break or something. And so I went north of Vegas, like 2 hours to Pahrump or Pahrump or whatever it's called.
it is. Yeah.
And there's like an old ghost town, and they filmed, was it the Island?
You're
Something
looking at me
with-
like this was of my generation.
whatever his name, Ewan McGregor was in the movie, and they
Oh
come,
yes, the
they come
island.
up
Yes,
out
yes,
of,
it was the island.
they
You
come
are
up
correct.
from underneath, and they're in this like it's a building, like half of a building, you know. And so I went to this ghost town, me and a buddy of mine, and so we spent like all night out there. And so I was doing like 45-minute shot, like click, and then I'd run over, you know, and pop some flashes on the side, you know, with some gels on it, and then I'd run over the other side and do it. And so when I got back, I was like, boom, like went in and I was like, yeah, bitch, you know, you can do it. And he was like, huh, wow, that's cool. But you know, it was one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, okay, you can do it, you know. But there's other people who are doing it, like, I took 2,700 photos and stacked them all in Photoshop, and I'm like, that's
crazy fucking work.
too much work.
I've still never stacked anything.
I've done it once.
I've
by
tried
accident.
and it does not.
And I think it's, you know, photojournalism background. It's like, who has time for that?
Yeah, no,
Well,
exactly. I'm like,
It's like, what do you mean you spent 12 hours outside and came with one photo out of it?
Yeah, you're like, you fucking dumbass. You should. No, that's so. As you were talking about, like your mom, where she would take, I want this photo with the cardinal in the snow and all that. So I have all these photos. Yeah,
I like how you have access to everything you've ever done. Just
he's ready because he's just so excited about it. Like this was like Bishop's episode was me getting to enjoy my fun time in the sandbox, and he's like, "This is mine." So anyway, so I have all these photos of everything where I'm like, I like this angle of it. I like this. This is how I like it.
but have they been edited?
They're gonna start coming soon. I'm not gonna be chained to that same desk anymore, so I'm actually gonna be excited to be at the desk. But so there's all these photos I like. And then we'll have an argument about like she wants this angle of it. So most of the photos in the living room are stuff that she likes, whatever she likes about it. But I was like, so most of these photos, there's like 3 or 4 because it's like, and they're done. Because I'm like, why would I take a million fucking photos of the same thing? Unless we're at like Big Ben, where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put it on bulb. I'm just gonna see how that works out because I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing with that. But like the stacking and all that shit, I'm like, no, that's way too much work.
yeah.
I did a long exposure GoPro in the mountains, and I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever done. But it's on a GoPro that looks like shit. And I'm like, well, it will never go out publicly because it's a cool, I know exactly where it's at. It looks cool for about like a stamp.
I got into the whole light painting thing and like really
I want to get better at it.
doing it that.
But he won't show me. He's just like, nope, gates closed. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
What is that?
I had to move it. It's just it's my violin over here. It's the world's it's tiniest violin over here. So you lived in Dallas and you were doing portrait photography underneath. You were studying, understudy, I guess, whatever you would call it.
I was just an employee.
Okay, employee.
You know, I learned a lot, but
Yeah. So currently, what you're doing now is
so that's complicated. Not really complicated. So, like I said, I started in portrait work, and then I jumped into photojournalism.
Yeah.
I've been doing that ever since. So commercial and photojournalism work.
Okay.
And the lie I keep telling people is I don't do video, but I've been doing it forever. Because I did video for the newspaper.
Yeah.
And now I do it for clients.
Yeah. What kind of video are you doing? Like short stuff?
Yeah.
Like-
Like I got a client who has a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay.
That started a couple months ago.
I want to get into it. I can, you know,
Also,
With-
if you bring
with-
the mic a little bit closer, I want to see if that's why it's dying off. Perfect.
Like right there.
yeah.
right.
Get up on it.
And are you gonna make your joke? You'll get paid in 3 or 4 weeks.
No, but I like with still photos, I can see what I want and I know how to get that out. With video, I am not there. So it's like what I see, what I want first shot. I don't know how to cross that. And I get frustrated. And so instead of like, just keep at it, I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to shoot still.
So my videos, if you look at them, look just like a business headshot or business portrait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tell people, look, I'm not making the next Batman for you. I'm
Right.
I'm not gonna have the backpack with the crane on it. And all that. I'm Batman.
I'm not doing steady cam out in the fucking woods, dog.
I've got a DSLR and a tripod and some good mics. And
Right,
that's how this-
right.
and I've got lighting too, but this is going to happen in a very specific way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And And even I had this little studio for a while that if you walked in, how I shot headshots, the lighting didn't change if you came in for video. It was the same bright lights.
Okay. Yeah.
So I didn't make some big Herculean effort. I just know how to make the person look good in front of the camera, which is
Yeah.
all they really want. And really what they want is good sound.
Yeah.
That's there's so much stuff. I was just telling this to another buddy the other day. I was like, if you go look at this YouTube or this video and that video or whatever it is, the only reason everyone's talking about this is because someone did a bunch of like overlays in DaVinci that make it look cool, and they have a bunch of weird like cut shots, and then that's really about it. Like, in a good sound.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people are doing video work where they're making a spectacle of the product, which is great. That's what they're doing. And I don't really do anything video related with product stuff, so I can't really put up with that. But
Yeah.
I just want good, solid social media content.
Yeah.
Because that's what the client really wants.
Yeah.
Minimum of fuss and minimum of overlays, and
Yeah.
I'm not doing a bunch of movements.
Yeah.
I bought 3 sliders. They all suck. So
Yeah.
to do any better, I'm gonna have to spend a lot more
The
money.
idea of the sliders, or watching the people that actually are doing the time lapses with the sliders, where it's like coming across and like the waves or stars, like that looks so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I was covering what do you call it? A film festival. They had the one in Evan for a while.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
They had this
yeah,
director
yeah.
coming. He's talking, and he's like, one of the students from one of the colleges said, "I noticed you don't have a lot of movements." Or he's like, "I lock everything down and I let the movement happen past the camera, not from the camera." And in my mind, I thought he just gave me permission. I was like, "Listen, I know I'm a award-winning director who doesn't do any movements."
Yeah. He's like, that motherfucker is static, and it is right goddamn there. Yeah.
No, so back to what I'm doing now. So I decided, so I've always done, portrait work for friends, and I did weddings up until like 2012, and I got screwed pretty hard on a couple of them. One, I finally called and said, "You guys got to pay me." And they're like, "We got divorced." And it was like 4 months later.
You're like, that's not my problem. Yeah.
So I stopped doing that for a while, but about 3 years ago, I started having this idea. I need to get back into portrait work because I need to make a living.
Yeah.
Retirement's 20, 25 years away. And
Yeah.
my knees are getting old. And but actually, I did a wedding for a friend's kid like a year and a half ago, and I actually really enjoyed it. And I was surprised.
Yeah, when you haven't done it for
right.
a long time.
Well, I think it was, I'd done weddings in the past, and I wasn't as competent.
Yeah.
And I was pretty close to the age of the people getting married. But then I did this wedding a year and a half ago, and I was coming up on 2 years. I was the kids getting married were my kids' age.
Okay.
I didn't care what they thought about what was going on. I was in charge.
Yeah.
We're going to do what I want to do, and you're going to love it. And they loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd been in a newspaper, so I'd had all the pressure from having to get things done.
Yeah.
So at the wedding, it was actually more relaxing than a day like at the Capitol.
Yeah.
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 So I started getting back in that. So I started a second brand because, editorial and commercial, you sell one way. You sell, like you were saying, you can sell the $1 per hour or whatever it is you do.
Yep.
Which I've moved away from that too. But for portrait work, I'm selling products.
Yep.
I'm selling prints and albums.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're not getting all the photos from the wedding for what you're.
Yeah.
And
You're getting the 30 that I like, and
Well, I'm so I started Rolling Plane Studio. So I got Brent Fuchs Photography, Rolling Plane Studio. It's all just still me. But,
right. Right.
and one is, Brent Fuchs Photography. That's stuff I love to do. That's journalism that doesn't pay the bills, but it's fun.
Yeah.
The other one, I'm actually having help with social media, and it's going to have marketing and that sort of stuff. So it's just a different way of doing business. But yeah, like I had a recent conversation. It's like, well, what do they get for that $1,600? And I'm like, they get me to show up at a wedding.
Yeah.
Like, well, how many images do they get? I go, none.
Yeah.
You get a digital of everything that's
Yep.
in the album.
Yeah.
But you got to buy that album.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just a different way of,
That was
because I'm so done with shoot and burn.
So I would do then this was a long time ago, like senior portraits. Senior
God.
portraits were a cash cow, like for me, because I would not charge. I'm going to charge you like, $50, $100 for a sitting fee, and you're going to buy everything through me, and I'll give you like 2 or 3 outfit changes, and so if you don't buy anything, at least it covers my time, because like realistically, we're going to be done in an hour. So, but then it's like, oh, well, that, hour turned into $400 a product that you bought from me.
So like in the commercial, now editorial is different. And it depends on what you call editorial. Cause editorial can mean a couple different things.
Yeah.
And to me, it means documentary style journalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's also, I've noticed when you say editorial, people also may think I'm a fashion photographer for a magazine.
Right.
And that's 100% not true.
Right.
So I'm going to have to, how I present that's different. But, like commercial work, the way I charge, they're not buying anything later.
Yeah.
And, it used to be they would buy, well, this is still true for a lot of people. They would buy usage rights.
Yep.
And then they'd re-up those usage rights.
Yeah.
I have found that very difficult for me to keep up with.
Yes.
Unless I end up working with an agency, which I'm pretty sure I never will, because that means I'll be working with big businesses. And I've done that before. And I don't like that either. I don't like working by committee. I like working with the medium-sized businesses who have the money to hire me, but are going to let me, do my thing.
Right.
So the way I charge there is I charge as if I'm not making any more money on the project.
Yes.
And I thought about doing that on the portrait side, but people don't like paying that upfront price without seeing anything. So I've been going to the classes, and like I went to a weekend with Gary Box, if you know who that is, up in Spalpa.
Yeah.
And I worked for Gary's my first job out of college at NOC.
Okay.
Also the only person that ever fired me.
Oh, really?
I told him that, and he's like, really? I was like, yeah. I go, no, it's fine with it, man.
You're like, I'm not up here to stab you. Am I?
No. And he's, I acknowledge he knows his crap in business. So I took his weekend class, and then I went to, what do you call it? Tech school of photography last year.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to people, and it's like, it really feels like the way to go is you charge that session fee, and I actually charge a very small session fee, but you're not getting anything. You're buying product.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get digitals if you buy enough product.
Yep.
Like if a senior buys a senior album, and I did this last fall, they're going to get a digital of everything in the album, which is fine because you spend enough money. You're a senior. You're not going to buy repeats of this in a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This is a one shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine was usually if they ended up buying enough that it was like, if they spent over $500, it's like, I'm not going to charge you the sitting fee or, the 100, cause it's like, I will just roll that into you're buying enough that like, we're good, And so that was my thing. And, like with my senior photos, it was like realistically when I would do them, that was average. That was like $400. Say, it was always usually going to be around $400 when they got in with all the prints and everything else. And because they would do like, oh, well, I need them for my announcements, and so I'm like, well, here's a sheet of 8 for $12, and, I mean, that was the going price.
Yeah.
And so
back when you were a senior,
yeah.
He's like back at the turn of the 1900s.
no, he's close to my age. So we're about,
Yeah.
That was a hard part. So I use SmugMug to just get my shit online. That was what the first thing I found, and I've not had any problems with them for the most part, other than a couple little things. But when I shoot family photography and stuff like that, I'm like, if you would like me to go get this printed, let me know. I can go facilitate that. I'll get you some really nice stuff.
A long time ago, there used to be decent places to get stuff printed locally. Yeah. Now there's not.
Well, and that's what I explained to them. I was like, if you look at some of the stuff that we get made that she sends out, like it's through this and it's through that.
I won't get the names here, but I know a portrait photographer. They have a studio here in the city up in Edmond. And
it'd be hard to narrow that one down.
Oh no, I just don't want to get in the weeds on the story. But
yeah,
they said we're talking recently at a workshop, and they said the weird thing that's happened now is there's so many younger shoot and burn photographers. They don't know how to print.
Yeah, shit.
And like they know nothing about it. So they've had local people who've had their senior photos done by another photographer come in and say, "Listen, I hired this person. These are great photos. They don't know how to print. I looked into it. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I want to, I
like this.
I'd like a canvas on the wall." And they say, "Can you help me print?" And they go, "Yeah, we're just going to charge you a lot for it."
Yeah.
Like enough where they probably should have just come there to begin with.
Right.
But they're having to help people print.
Yeah.
Because they want nice, 16 by 20s.
Well, and that was like with when I would do something and they're like, well, I want a coffee table book. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to look in, and it's like, okay, well, my cost is, and I wouldn't tell them, but I'm like,
My cost is $11,000.
But it's like, okay, well, that's going to be,
Yeah.
X amount. And it's like, I priced all my stuff for what, you talk to other photographers, what the going rate is, what people are charging for it. It's like, oh, it's a $200 book, and it's like, okay, well, I'm getting it for 60. So I'm making, by the time it's all said and done, you're probably into it for 80. And so making $120, that's not, incredibly obscene.
Well, and the other thing is,
Mine are.
Well, but I mean, so like our wedding photographer that we used, she picked and she was like, this is what he costs. And I said, okay, cool. I'm not shooting it. It's fucking our wedding. And because I made the joke, I can shoot this. I can do all this. And she goes, no, you fucking can't.
And sometimes they just need to see it. I'm going to back up a little because I think, I don't think what a lot of photographers realize, you just do the shoot and burn.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of doing a disservice to their clients because there's research from PPA on this. The very high percentage of those photos that they get shot and they end up on their computer, never going anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just in a folder in their computer.
Yeah.
And there's never seen again.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes the clients just need to see it in print. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a good example is I did a wedding and they're like, we don't want an album. Fantastic. I don't care.
You're getting a fucking album.
Yeah.
I printed an album for myself, a sample. And they ordered something else from me and I took the album with me. And I said, hey, you got to look at the sample I just printed. And it was my top sample.
Right.
And they're like, they got the page 3 and said, we need one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, fantastic. Here's how much that costs. And
Well, and I mean, that's the thing is, it's like, oh, the customer wants this, but then it's upfitting the customer.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, cool. You really do want heated seats today.
Yeah.
yeah.
You didn't.
But there was one.
Yeah.
And they just need to see it.
Yeah. Well, so one of the wedding photographers that I did some work for had where they would come in to look at the photos and they would have it on the wall and they would project it. And it was like, they had the spot where it was like, so it was the brilliant white, so it would show up and you project it and it's like, oh, we're going to project it at, 24 by 30 because when they come in, if you see an, 4x6, oh, we only want an 8x10. And then they're like,
Damn, I look good as shit.
that looks so good.
I got to tell you about this class I went to last year. So I went to Texas School of Photography, which is great. 1,000 people show up for different classes.
Okay.
I would go this year, but I'm spending my money on marketing this year.
Right.
There's no harm in that.
So I went to class with Greg and Lisa Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both great.
Is that the one that's in San Antonio?
No, they live on, I forget the name of the town. It's on the east side of Florida. And the best way to describe it from the way they talk about it, it'd be like if Gaylordia was the size of Edmond,
Yeah.
but had real money.
yeah.
So this is how they do their sales. Their people don't care about prices.
Yeah, they're just like,
Yeah.
I want
And
this.
they have early consultations at the yacht club with the dress code and all that stuff.
Nice.
No,
Nice.
seriously, like it's crazy. And she does all the sales. And listen, she could do a week long class in her own.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But the way they do it is like they don't ask you how big they want. They said, we're coming to your giant house and we're going to find where you want it and we're going to project until we get to the right size. And there's actually a formula. You want 50% of the visible space taken. And so, that could be a 16 by 20. That could be, they have one that was 16 feet tall.
Wow.
Jesus.
It was this.
That's a big house.
It was a space over the fireplace that was like 4 feet wide by 16 feet. And so it's like, okay, now we know how we want to shoot it. And he shot it in a composite format where he shot the family photo like a standard. And then and there was like all these trees above, these cypress trees, and then put them all together.
That's fucking cool. That's
nice.
Yeah.
So and what they do different is he gets the digital together and then he paints in digital Corel.
Yeah.
Right.
Then he prints it out himself because he has the printer to print on canvas, which is just the Epson.
Yeah.
He has the 48 inch. And he prints it himself, and then he stretches the canvas out, and then he paints on it like it's a painting.
Yeah.
And he lets the client kind of choose how much painterly they want that to be. Do you want this to look like a painting, or do you just want it to be a slight painting? And then they mount it themselves, and then they hire a carpenter to come hang these things. But they don't.
So here's the thing that I'm hearing in this: they're making a lot of money, but there's a lot of time and money going into this.
Well, what I liked about his class was there was another photographer there from Miami. He said, I work with a lot of wealthy people in Miami. He goes, and I go
all
to
cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all
They all have this little sugar thing in their nose.
They all have these Cuban accents and white suits. And,
Yeah.
no, but he said, I go in their houses and there's not these, they don't have these giant family portraits. And this guy teaching the class was like, that's because I'm not there. He goes, no, and it wasn't a hubris thing. It was I created this product. We go out and sell this product. This product exists in my market because I made it exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we go out and they've been hustling it for, I don't want to say hustling, but they've
been marketing and selling that product.
yeah, they've been doing it for 40 years in their area.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people
Which
know.
is wild to think about. 40 years over, like, that's.
I mean, when you
Yeah.
you think of like Olin Mills,
Yeah.
you
I try
know,
not to.
Oh, I know, but they were an institution for years.
I stopped and had, it was funny. I went to, what is it? Salt Flats a while back, a couple of years
right,
ago.
Yeah.
right.
And I told my advisor who lives in Tonquah, I was like, hey, I'm coming by I want to stop by and visit. So he goes, yeah, we'll go to dinner. And I get there. He goes, yeah, we're going to dinner. You're coming to church with us first. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. You're like, sure.
But they were telling me that year, which was 2024,
Okay.
they started out in Little Rock and they were going back to do a dance school. And they said, we wanted this our last one. And we waited to make this our last one because it's our 50th year of photographing those kids at this dance school. 50 years of,
Wow,
yeah.
that's
Like
awesome.
I'm not even 50 years old. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
You're like, I'm 3 years shy. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck, that's crazy. But I mean, so this, even all the high points and low points of candid photography, if you think about the marketing and the sales point of it, that's something that I know, just as many people I know, they were like, oh, I'm a photographer.
Yeah.
No, you're a
Yeah.
hobbyist photographer. I'm a
Yep.
hobbyist photographer.
Yep.
But those guys going out, they're making an actual legitimate product. That's crazy to think about. They're projecting it up there. They're showing you what they're going to do with it. And they're like, okay, well, this is what it would look like. And here's going to be, but they're actually legitimately selling a product. And they're not scraping by being a photographer in that. I mean, obviously they're lucky to be maybe lucky or work their way up to that market. But I mean, that's insanity to think about. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's their whole brand. And they don't do what I do. They do not generalize. This is what we do. This is how we do it. We do this one thing. We do it well.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, I remember I went to PPA convention in 2016 in Atlanta, which was awesome. The best Waffle House on earth in downtown Atlanta.
Yeah.
nice.
And what was better about it is that Waffle House was between my hotel and the convention center. So it was like
Right,
3
right.
squares a day.
Did you order or did you just point?
Oh, by day 4, they were just making it as they saw me walk.
They're like, yeah, we know what he wants. Yeah.
But I get there. So I went there and I met Clyde Butcher, who does black and white photography in the Everglades.
Okay.
And I met Peter Hurley. That's where I met Peter Hurley and a
Yeah.
couple other people. And there was a guy there. He was from Alabama and he did pageant photography. And he was talking about how he lives in the middle of nowhere and women come from all over young women come from all over the country to have their pageant headshots taken from. And that's what really dawned on me. All these people here who are really making it do one thing.
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
fucking good.
And they're really good at it.
Yeah.
And I felt like it's really hard in our market. And I always said that it's hard in Oklahoma City to really specialize, but then you meet people who are just like, Clyde Butcher is in the middle of
the fucking Everglades.
in the middle of the Everglades.
Yeah.
And he's selling these giant, like 9-foot wide prints to airports because they get out and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes back to, you just got to find your clients.
Yeah. So, Travel OK, I think is who it was, or Travel OKC. Right when I first got my Instagram, I had some photos of, Citrus Hill Bridge and Oklahoma City and all that stuff. I was just basically like, I got to go see how this camera works. I want to go out, and I was bored. And if you hashtag them in some stuff, they'd be like, oh, we're going to print this out. And they knew what to use, which if would large format printing, if it looked okay or not. So, and it would hang out Will Rogers in the baggage claim area because they wanted you to see, like, this is Oklahoma City and this is what we want you to go look at. So I still don't know what happened to it. They had a really killer photo of mine. They actually used 2. Because I asked them, I was like, hey, can I have that so I can look and see what it looks like? Because I just went to a full frame camera. I've never had anything that big. I want to see how it looks. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Because I like doing landscape. That's what I like. I like Oklahoma landscapes, and that's what I would do. But no one's fucking going to buy that shit here necessarily. If they're coming in, it's one thing. But yeah, you're right. When you find your niche, you're good at that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're at. Like, there are people that will come to you for that. Like,
Yeah. But trying to make trying to survive
to do that.
yeah.
It's trying to survive early on.
Yeah.
You got to do all the other things you don't want to do. Like,
Yeah.
like I was telling, I did a job last year. I went to CAD to go to Kansas 4 times. And I was photographing headshots and portraits for the USDA up in Manhattan. Incredibly boring work.
Yeah.
But the boring work pays for everything else.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe the definition of being a professional. You're going to do a whole bunch of stuff that you don't want to do. That's not fun. But
no one wants to be in Excel. Well, most people don't want to be in Excel. They don't want to be in Outlook. They want to do this. But you're going to have to go do all that shit to be able to make that paycheck at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm along those same lines, finding out like, again, there are things because people will be like, oh, can you take a picture of my baby? And I'm like, no.
No,
wait, what? And I'm like, look, there are 10 other photographers that are going to be so much better at that than I am. I can, but I'm telling you this as that's not what I specialize in. And the picture you're wanting, if the baby in the bowl and with all the bullshit around it, like I'm not going to give you what you want, but this person will.
Yeah.
You know, and spend the money.
And you don't want that photo from me.
No.
Because I'm going to be figuring all this out in real time.
Yeah.
I did a research where I'm like, you want what? A baby in the bowl?
But
and I'm like over here, like, here's a bowl.
I can call someone I know, I've known for 20 years who does this every weekend or every day. And it's like, you want them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it always surprises people when you tell them no.
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't want my money? It's like, no, I don't, because
I
I'm
want
not
you
your
to
guy.
be, I want you to be happy. And like the flip side of that, I don't have enough confidence in myself that that's going to be a great photo. And I don't want people seeing that and going, ooh.
And I think it's really important for younger photographers to learn to say no, because you don't want your first go at a wedding by yourself to be at somebody else's wedding.
Yes.
Because you're going to mangle that.
Oh my God. So
weddings, I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
It always amazed me at how cheap people are.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you'll spend $30,000 on a dress, or you're going to spend, $20,000 on catering. And then you're going to freak out if at a $4,000 for a photographer for a full day.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, and it's like,
this is one fucking day.
A year from now, you're going to have a dress in a box that you haven't worn since. You might have some moldy cake in a freezer, it's freezer burned. You're going to have your marriage license and you're going to have your photos. Like 10 years from now, you probably won't have that dress anymore. You might still have it in a box, but you're going to have your marriage license if you're still married and your photos. Like, why wouldn't you spend more on something that
it's tangible.
You're going to have that for the rest of your married life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where
do you want something good to burn whenever he burns you?
I mean,
come on now.
But people get,
how's that ritual going to go with nothing?
Yeah. I'm just saying. Yeah.
People get so weird, and it's usually what I
tires,
found,
photos, and fucking.
Well, what I found on weddings, it's whoever's writing the check.
Yeah.
If it's mom, if it's grandma, if it's whoever's signing that check is the one you're going to have the problems with.
One of the old axioms in portrait photography is it's mom.
Yeah.
Mom's even if she's not the one making the money, she's the one making the decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's calling the shots on this. Hey, family, I want you to go get good photos so I have them over the mantle.
The bridezillas that was not necessarily the bride as much as it was whoever was writing the check.
Yeah.
And, I've done a lot of weddings, and I worked really well. I was a second shooter for a guy. So if they hired second photographer, I did all the candid, photos, which like can do that on autopilot because I was doing it all the time, and then we actually worked really well together because it's like, I knew what he was going to do. So I knew what I was going to do. And then the time we would have to, it's like, okay, now we're going to do the family photos. So I'm herding cats, trying to get everybody stop, go, get here, before grandma passes out and, hey, stop eating. We've got to take a photo, and then, all right, now get the fuck out. And then,
I used to really enjoy second shooting
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
all the photography without any of the pressure.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy's calling the shots.
Yeah.
I'm over here
Yeah.
like click, click,
But you know,
birds.
So the median age of a wedding photographer has not changed. You know, it's
Yeah.
you get a lot of 25 to 35 year olds. Now
Right.
my age is advancing, and I found what happened. A couple things happened. One, I would be working with people with a lot less experience, but they were the primary shooter,
Right.
and they had some kind of hang up with telling me what to do.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I know I've been doing this 25 years, but you still have to tell me what you want out of this
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
And second, I was getting more critical because I'd be like, so you're going to shoot this whole family without any lighting, like in the shade right here.
Yeah.
That's like, man, I've got like 5 lights in the car. Do you want to go grab one for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Let
Yeah.
me help you unfuck this real fast.
What
Yeah.
was
But, you know, and I started following photographers around. And, you know, I remember a friend got married and I was in the wedding, so I couldn't, you know, photograph. So,
right?
which I don't never photograph for friends.
Yeah. No.
But,
that's the two I
so
shot. Yeah.
I wasn't groomsman. I was an usher.
Right.
So it gave me a little freedom to follow the photographer around. It was
Yeah.
Just very
Yeah.
What are you doing
Yeah.
over there? What are you doing?
Yeah. I'm just kind of standing behind her. She was getting, and I was like, holy crap, those images are blue. They're actually blue. They're not even like color balance. And her flash is bouncing off the entire sky, apparently.
Yeah.
And I remember the only complaint that the photographer was their turnaround time. I was like, well, yeah, she spent like a whole day per image fixing.
Fucking unfucking
Yeah,
shit.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they were sharp and focused, but I
Right.
don't know what else
It's
was
like,
going on there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking spray and pray.
Dude, my buddy, he gets married and he does videography. That's what his bread and butter is. He's gone to school for it his whole life. And his wife is like, oh, there's one wedding photographer in our town. So she gets hired naturally. And I have just really picked photography back up at this point, and she's using a monopod because she, quote unquote, was not allowed to use a tripod, which because she didn't have a tripod was what we found out.
Okay.
She had a monopod for what? I don't know why. And so every fucking photo, she's waving it back and forth like, this is gonna look good, dude. And he's looking at me, he's like, don't fucking tell me. Because he teaches where he has to teach stills. He's like, oh, you're gonna want to, you know, this may be your movie photo or your poster for all this stuff. You're gonna need a still for this. So I'm gonna teach you how to do that pretty decently, but here's how you do videography. And he's just like, yep, nope, that's not gonna look. And so she had to go. I don't know if they ever got these printed, but like there's all this Photoshop of her eyes being redone where she's cutting and moving her eyes and shit. It was I went, how much did you pay her for that? Because I need to know how I can charge more. Oh man, some people.
I would never do video for a wedding.
No.
Actually, I do follow a guy on Instagram. Can't remember his name, Porter or something. No, his last name is Porter, but he does like he covers a wedding like it's a documentary where he'll do interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool, but I'd rather shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and
Yeah.
and that, like you were saying earlier, so like we were trying to do a promo video where we're gonna come in from the front door, walk down the hallway, and then there's a beer coming in and all that stuff. And we're thinking about it long trajectory, no cuts, no edits, no swipes or anything like that. And then everybody I know that does videos like, oh, well, you're thinking about it completely different. I'm like, yeah, that's how we think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I would never want to go do a documentary series of this. I would pay someone that's really good at doing that shit to do it for me. Hey, I don't want this to look like shit. You go do it.
Yeah, I always say the older I get, the more I hire people who know what they're doing. Like
Yeah.
I've hired
Yeah.
someone to help me with social media now and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to be an active participant in the economy instead of just trying to hash this out myself and staying up all night. How do I log into this API?
Yeah. In my older
Why are the statistics not right? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
in my older age, I'm starting to learn that it's not always good to be a cheap bastard.
He's starting to.
You
He's
know,
not really doing
I
it.
mean,
But
No, I mean, there are things where I'm like, I'm going to pay to have that done.
So like I was telling my dad was a mechanic, and I mean it was like 3 months after my dad died was the first time I paid someone to do my oil.
Yeah.
oh, dude.
It's like, oh yeah, I don't have to the shame of telling dad I hired someone to change my oil.
So
He's like, I know.
I saw it.
He was always so disappointed I couldn't weld.
Oh shit. So when I growing up,
I can weld, but it looks like Stevie Wonder taught
Oh no.
me.
yeah, he did with his feet.
So my dad's saying was like, would you rather be a welder or a grinder? Because I always fix what I did.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I'm perfectly happy with the grinding. That's the fun part for me.
Yeah, sparks, motherfucker. Yeah.
It photographs so well.
Yeah. The old adage of the best camera is the one you have on you. And Brian was grinding some shit one day, and I was like, man, if I had my goddamn camera with me, I'm trying on my phone. I'm like, nope. Tried, nope. But
So what do you shoot?
yeah, now that we're an hour and 34 minutes in,
yeah.
fuck you, burrito. We'll get there when we get there.
Cameras.
He's like, I use a
Not people.
No, it's funny because I had this guy who wanted me to sex shoot a wedding, and he called me. He's like, and I'm not going to the whole story, but he wasn't getting response online.
Right.
Like, I need somebody. My person dropped out, and after like a week, I was like, this guy really needs somebody, and I have that day off. So he calls me. He goes, do you have any experience shooting Canon cameras? I go, I have 6 on the cabinet right now.
He's like, have you ever shot on a brand called Vivitar?
And I said, you need to go to my website first. I said, but I've been doing this since for like 25 years.
Right.
So,
right.
Anyway, it's just a funny story.
How old was he? Was he younger?
Oh yeah. Like, I think he was like 30,
Okay.
which is a valid concern. I've hired assistants, and now my number one qualification is, have you ever set up a light stand? I need to see you do it first.
Yeah.
Because if you invert those legs the other way, like it's a rocket ship, you're out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what do I shoot? I shoot Canon.
Okay.
I started out Fuji. Remember the Fuji DSLRs?
Yep.
I had the S1, S3, and S5.
Yep.
Wonderful cameras.
Yeah.
I'd still have the S5. I dropped it and warped it and broke it.
Nah.
And those took Nikon lenses.
Yeah.
But insurance, I had a whole bunch of equipment break at the same time from a customer who dropped stuff on concrete, knocked over a shelf. No, I really have. He like leaned against a shelf, and I had this studio and broke everything at one time. It was amazing.
Wow.
And then he guys goes, whoopsies.
Oh yeah, and like
Fuck.
he's hired me since then, and I'm like, hey man, remember it's catch up front now.
Does he do cat up front? At least he remembers.
But that's when I switched to Canon. 5D Mark 1, 5D Mark 2, 5D Mark 3 in that order. Now I buy, and this comes from working the paper, I buy everything in pairs.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I had all my own, even when I worked at the paper, I was shooting Canon, and I was like all L lenses, and
well, listen, go ahead.
I 1 series body. I had the 5D, the original 5D. I made so much fucking money with that thing. Great portrait camera. That was my studio portrait camera.
So when I worked at General Record, they had a 3.
Yeah.
And I bought I got a really good deal on 7D Mark 2, which at the time was, it was a 1D Mark 4 and a little body.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I carried that around.
I had the Mark 1, the 7D Mark 1. And then
I had that one for like a month.
Yeah. And then like I never got rid of my original 5D. I bought it new. And I just.
So however much I disliked the 7D was inverse proportional how much I liked the 2.
Yeah.
Because the 7D sucked really bad.
Yeah.
The 2 was
great. I got it because I thought I was going to like start in on the video and thought about doing a whole rig and got all this other stuff and never did.
So when I worked at the newspaper, their equipment was aging out.
Yeah.
So more and more equipment that was on my body was mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like 6 months before they let all their photographers go nationwide at the same time. 6 months before that happened, they're like, hey, you can buy all new equipment. And I was like, fantastic. I got to use it for 6 months.
Yeah. Like, thanks guys. Good job.
Yeah. And then I recently, I don't know, a couple years, I've got rid of all my Canon and switched over to Fuji. And so now I'm like the mirrorless, and I'm digging the Fuji.
Yeah.
I was not happy that Canon was going to the R and being like proprietary and,
So I have, so I bought the 5D SR the month it came out, paid full price for that.
yeah.
And I still have that one.
Nice.
And then just 2 years ago, I bought another one. I bought a used one that's still Canon will still fix because it's got a high enough serial number.
Right.
I bought it, plugged it in, checked the 100 clicks on it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So I use that a lot for portraits,
Right.
Because I control the lighting, and it's still just a fantastic camera. And then I had bought two 5D Mark IVs, and I will never sell those. For going out, like doing like just walk around street style stuff.
Right.
They're wonderful.
Yeah.
And then last year I had the money and I was going to buy an R5 and an R5 II, and I was really waffling on what I wanted. And I realized I could buy a new one, or I could buy two used 1D10 Mark IIIs.
Right.
And I bought the two 1D10 Mark IIIs, and that is the best journal camera I own, and it does fantastic video.
Yep.
It does Canon RAW video.
Right.
Which is just wonderful.
Yeah. I had the 1D Mark III and I loved it.
So I have not gone mirrorless yet.
Yeah. So
I'm not necessarily in a hurry, but hopefully next year.
When I was shooting Canon, I had an XT or an X100T, I think, or S or something. And it was a little mirrorless, like kind of like almost like point and shoot, fixed 35. And there were times when I would use it because it was easier to get in and out, with that. And I really enjoyed it as far as cameras, go. And so when I got rid of all my Canon, ended up, like I said, I sold it and got enough. I bought, XT3, an X Pro 3. And so I have both of those formats, and I'm like, cause I like the rangefinder format, but I actually,
that one is the very tempting one for me.
Yeah. And I like it. I don't like it. I love it because it has an optical viewfinder. It's digital and optical. So when you put, you can actually look through it, but it's digital inside. But I keep going back to the XT3, the SLR, DSLR format, because it's like, it's what I know and what I'm used to. And like the rangefinder. So I do a lot of film stuff. Like one of the biggest things I ever did that like helped me, I think, become a better photographer was when I started moving up into medium format and large format. Large format is when I really got my shit together, because you got four, it's like I got two film holders, which means I got 4 shots.
Yeah. And when I adjunct at Roasted, I had a digital class and a film class.
Yeah.
And I feel like the film class advanced quicker.
Yeah.
Because when you're paying $15 a roll,
yeah,
you have to care a lot about what's happening.
Yeah.
If I'm shooting digital, it's like, I'll shoot 1200. I'm shooting raw. It's fine. It's like if I get 10 shots out of 1200, cool.
I took a little break from film while I was moving. A lot happened. Like 3 years ago, I decided I'm going to sell my house and make kids. And I was downsizing, kids moved in on it. But during that time, my dad got sick and he died, and it was really inconvenient. He was not thinking about me at all when he died.
Right.
It was really inconvenient.
Yeah. He's like,
so
your
I
problem
hate it
now.
when they do that.
So that 6-month temporary apartment stay became 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do film there. But I've really got rid of most everything except for the large format.
Yeah.
And I picked up a second one last year and rebuilt it. It was a
I have
Toyo CX, but 4x5 is, and I've always kind of debated if I want to go bigger.
Yeah.
But I did a spreadsheet and did a lot of research on the cost of shooting and developing and going through the pro process with 35 millimeter. And I used to have an RZ67. I thought about getting one of those again.
Right.
And then I have a 6x9 back for the 4x5, which is actually I love a lot. But I started doing a spreadsheet on, medium format, 4x5, 8x10.
Yeah.
The cost of doing everything. And as you go up, it doesn't it's not like this nice linear progression. It's like exponential.
Exponential.
Because
Yeah.
when you get to printing very large prints of very large film, you're talking gallons of chemicals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 4x5 seems to do that very happy middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 8x10, the last time there used to be black and white overnight, they would develop it in town. And because they were on Britain, and then they moved over to Class, and I don't think they're in business anymore.
They're not.
And because it was like I'd go over and I had an 8x10. So I had built a handheld 8x10, and it was fixed focus. So I had a 90 millimeter 4x5 lens on it. So I was getting the full round image with the fall off on the 8x10 negative. And I had built it, measured it out, built the whole thing from scratch. And it would take almost like a fisheye type photo. And it was a fixed focus. So it was like 3 feet to about infinity would focus. So it was really, and I still have it. It was neat, but it was like $20 a shot, and that is developing and a just a contact sheet, a contact print basically.
And that's the problem with 8x10 is you enlarging.
Yeah.
Your options are scan or finding one of the very rare 8x10 enlargers.
Yeah.
4x5. I'm like, I've got a 4x5 enlarger in storage.
Right.
They're not typically
I
the
used
hard. And you could even buy Intrepid sells the Intrepid camera enlarger kit where you can inverse the camera into be an enlarger.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I had 2 like Bessler enlargers, and like for the longest time I had all this stuff, because it was like, oh, I'm gonna have a studio, I'm gonna have all this, and so it's like I had all this stuff, and it's like after years of being in there, it's like get rid of that. I still do have 4x5s, and I have a Russian, what is it, like 6x7 or something. It's the weird.
The camera?
Yeah. It's a wooden camera, but the film holder on it, it's bigger than a 4x5, but not much. It's a weird size.
So I got a call like 2017 or 18. It must have been 17 or. This is my advisor up in Tonkawa. They owned a studio in town, but they also owned two or three buildings next to each other, and that was the Copes,
right?
And they said, we're getting rid of one of our buildings where we use for storage. And he said, do you want to buy anything? And I was like, I don't know. I'll come up there and I'll find out. And well, it turns out he owned the darkroom from NOC, and they'd closed the darkroom. So he had several enlargers. Like, you just can't sell enlargers in Tonkawa, Oklahoma. So
right.
And so what's funny is I brought him down. I said, I'll take those with me and I'll try to sell those for you. And then I get down here, and then I got on Facebook Marketplace to see how much those were going for, and the Oklahoma School of Photography was like liquidating all their stuff and just giving them away. And I was like, I called them, literally, you can't give these away right now.
Yeah.
So I ended up with those. They're still in storage, but I also ended up with the big darkroom door.
Yeah. The spinning one.
I'm not sure I can keep it, but I'm having a hard time letting that thing go.
Yeah. I miss so my medium format, I love the 6x9, and I always wanted the Fuji. The 6x9 was 2 or something, the big square one, and
it was 6x8.
6x8.
Yeah, it was a weird format,
and never could afford it at the time because I was photojournalist, so I'm poor.
Yeah.
But I ended up with I had a Bronica ETR SI, so it was a 645 format, and I liked it. It was a little bit bigger than 35, so you still get that. Larger negative. And
what was your first camera?
Canon AE1.
Okay.
Also a Canon AE1.
All right.
Yeah. And I still have it.
I was gonna say, and I still have mine. Mine needs new foam on the mirrors,
but now I have so many, and I have the weird, like I have a stereo. I found it at a garage sale, and it's like 35 millimeter stereo with 3 lenses. And
it's the weirdest fucking thing ever to see.
It was like $5, I'm like over, and like, how much you want for this? I'm like, I don't know, $5. And I'm like, yes. And I have a Rolly twin lens, and I'll have the little Rolly 35 and a bunch. I have like 4 Olympus pins, which I'm like, fuck, I kind of need to sell those. Those kind of.
Yeah. I've done my best not to collect.
Yeah.
I've got a few, but I feel like my dad hoarded, and I feel like that gene is pretty strong in the family.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I have a whole room full of
cameras.
I had to liquidate a lot and like got rid of. So I would do a lot of weird stuff where I would like take, like a brownie and like dissect it. And then, like I said, I would end up building something else and like using the lenses to build, my own camera type deal. And so
my collection is just my old cameras, mainly.
Yeah. I've still, like I said, I still
He's
have
still
my
going out and buying shit and putting them back together again.
Yeah.
It's
like,
and I've enjoyed that with my 2 large formats. I bought falling apart, super cheap, and then I've restored them.
Yeah.
Ordered bellows from China and all that stuff.
Yeah. I have 2 Calumet 4x5s. One of them is in great shape. I don't know how good the bellows is because it's been up in my attic, but it is like in the hard case, and I had a really nice, makes me sick that I had to get rid of it. But I had a really nice 4x5 field camera, Shinhao, and so it was teak and beautiful. And there was a certain photography shop. I was going through some rough time, laid off from the paper and divorcing and all this other stuff, and certain photography shop that used to be out in Yukon. And I was like, man, I am like,
I love to go.
Yeah, I did.
All my best lenses came from there.
Well, and
that's
the
where-
upstairs, he had like it was like a treasure trove because it was all the old stuff. And
So I
boxes
had a
of it.
discussion with him one time, and it was pretty interesting about, especially during the oil boom.
Yeah.
Like over 10 years ago. And it was the same thing. It was young couple, guy worked in oil field, wife had a kid, got a camera, decided he was going to be a photographer. 2 years later, it's like, this is really hard. Kept the camera, one lens, sold him all the other professional lenses. Then Brent comes in and buys used lenses that have barely been touched.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of this cycle of people who, and a lot of used stuff is people who think they want to be photographers and don't realize it's an actual job. That kind of
A lot of my stuff was, I had a friend who had to have the latest and greatest. It didn't matter if it was, I bought this 6 months ago, brand new, and the new one's coming out. So it's like, he would liquidate. And so I would get it for like half off, because he was like, I don't give a fuck. I don't want it. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. And then he's got the new one, and I'm over here with like barely used.
It's funny. I remember like my kids were in high school, and I raised my kids in Edmond, so they're
Right.
bratty Edmondite kids. But I guess I grew up in Stillwater. But I remember being like at my kids were in band, so I photographed a lot of the band.
Right.
And I remember being down on the sidelines one day, and I'm down there, and I look down the road, and there's all these parents who are they're like doctors, and they work for Devon or one of the oil companies, and I'm totally outgunned. Like everybody has newest, greatest. Everything is super clean. And I barely have any paint left on the side of my camera before it's rubbed my leg all day.
Right.
And it just happens so often where friends I know,
the best photo.
friends I know who are hobbyist photographers often have better equipment. And it's not necessarily a matter of money. It's just like they're just constantly buying the newest stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know where all the buttons are on this camera.
I'm not going to go for,
I can walk in pitch black and switch my settings.
Yeah. That's how it was.
And that's very important when you're doing it.
Yeah. That's how it was with my Canon, because it's like, I knew because I always shot manual, and because everybody's like, well, what are you shooting? I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to shoot until I get in there.
Until I start looking at that motherfucker. That's what
I always shot manual. So when I would get in somewhere, it's like, just start automatically.
So I had this weird experience in the mid-teens.
Right.
Where I would be out shooting and I would have some Sony bro come tell me how I was doing everything wrong because I didn't have a Sony.
Right.
And I remember having this conversation and they're like,
600, bro.
It's like,
sorry.
And they, really, they'd be like, you need to switch because it's so much better. And my blah, blah. I was like, let me tell you about my, right at then I'm shooting like a 5D Mark IV, right? And I'm like, I start the 1, the 2, the 3, the SR, the S, the SR, and the 4.
Right.
It's because when I add those to my workflow and I'm working, 60 hours a week, I get those. I know where most of the buttons are already. I know exactly what I'm doing with that camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I'm a busy person. I don't have time to learn a new system today.
Yes.
I can get that camera and learn it over time, but I'm still going to use this one for work.
Yep.
For a long time.
And to me, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Like
is my image quality going to increase that much?
Yeah.
Or is my cost
Because
of this going to go down that little?
when I go to a job and I'm like, fuck, I don't know how it works.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, I don't want that. I want to, walk in and be like, tick.
Yeah. And I actually sought a thing for a guy, and it's a complicated situation, but I took 2 of my cameras and 2 of his because he wanted me to shoot video. And I was like, okay, I'm going to shoot the video on mine because I know how to get the best results from mine.
Right.
And he goes, well, I have Sony. And I was like, okay, I'll do the stills from there. And it was the worst experience ever.
Yeah.
Because one, it's shaped all wrong. And 2,
Right.
Yeah.
the menus are made by some dweeb at Google or something because nothing was where you could find it. Now, the image result was great. Once
Have you ever owned a camera? Yeah.
But, the user interface and the user experience was the worst thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's every time I'm out shooting on my Nikon, someone's like, "Why don't you have a Canon?" I'm like, "Because I fucking know how that goddamn thing works. That's what I want to use. That's what I like. I have my glass."
Yeah, and
for it.
that argument's so old too. It's lame.
Yeah.
And it hasn't really mattered in like 10 years or 15 years or something because we remember definitely a time where every year Nikon was beating Canon, then Canon was beating Nikon.
Yeah.
And then around the time the 5D, I always say that as my benchmark, the 5D Mark III, it came out.
Yeah.
That every camera after that were all pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
They
like,
kind of figured out because then
Well, like the 5D Mark III got like 11 stops of dynamic range, which was the same as the film I was shooting.
yeah.
So once he passed that, everything is also just gravy.
Yeah.
Everything else
Yeah.
is like, I'm more worried about autofocus than the image quality coming out of the camera.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's like with especially with me working photojournalism, it was like, they're like, oh, it's 27 megapixels resolution. It's like, newsprint 8. That's all I need. It does not matter. It's going to look like dog shit because it's on newsprint.
Yeah.
So if I shoot it with, 8 is all I need. And anything more than that is,
And it only has to look good for one day on that newsprint.
Yeah.
Because then it's gone.
Yeah. Unless they're saving it and framing it. Yeah.
Because the next day it's going to have dog shit on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like to talk about the wives that were getting the fancy cameras because they wanted to be a photographer.
All the Canon rebels.
And I don't want to say it's just women doing it, but that is it really is the demographic.
Well, and I understand where they're coming from.
Stay-at-home mom.
It's the stay-at-home mom that want to document their family and all that stuff. And I have stay-at-home dads that have done the exact same shit.
And some of them turn out to be very good photographers.
Yeah. The eye thing. So I had this one lady that I knew that she was taking really good photos on her iPhone. And I was like, oh, that's a great photo of your kid. And she's like, hey, photographer. I'm like, hey, what are we doing? And she's like, what would you suggest for me to go get? And like her husband's well-to-do. She was pretty well-to-do before she would stay at home mom. And I'm like, this is what I would, if I had unlimited funds, I would go get this right now today. I would go to Bedford and I would buy that. And she was like, okay, cool. And then a couple weeks later, how do I use this? Here's the book I read. Start there, and then go to this YouTube.
We definitely had all of us had an advantage with our first cameras where we had a lot less buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
Shit.
This amazed me was Woody Gaddis. Some of his stories when he started talking about like when he was doing his photojournalism stuff and like true like fucking photography, and I remember he was talking about a story one time when he was shooting a fight and he had a guy underneath the ring that he was shooting on a speed graphic and would throw his film holders underneath there. So the guy was developing underneath the ring.
Wow.
And because he had to make deadline. He was like, yeah, you do what you have to do. He's like, I can't wait until after.
Also, if you think about perfect darkroom,
I mean,
have you ever
maybe
underneath the ring's real fucking dark.
But I remember
sweat dripping down.
Yeah, I don't talk about that.
So Woody would do this thing, and
is this who that was?
Yeah.
Okay.
He would walk into a room, and he'd look around, and he'd be like, for 120. 125, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, he would go in places because photojournalism, a lot of places you go, you can't use flash.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would go, every room he would go into, he would try to guess what the exposure would be. And then he would pull out a light meter and be like, yep. And so he had it where he could walk in a room and he'd be like, if I'm shooting ISO 400, it's going to be this.
So I got to tell you this right now. So the guy worked for in Dallas. He was really interesting because his first job was he joined the Navy as a Navy photographer, and then the next day Castro took power, and he got stationed in Florida.
Okay,
yeah,
and he had crazy stories about like, one day I'd be doing an autopsy, the next day I'd be in headshots, the next day I'd be flying over Cuba.
Holy fuck!
But so when I worked for him in the early, this like 2002 or something like that. We would send film in, and he was shooting medium format, and we get these reports back, and these reports that say give your film is overexposed or underexposed because they could actually measure the density of the film and give you And he was having this constant problem. He said it'd been going on for a couple of years where he was always off exposure. So ever since he got his brand new fancy Sekonic, what is it, 508 or something,
508, 5072,
and he was constantly fighting with the thing. So one day, my job was to pack the bag. We go photograph these. We had a series of 3 brides in a row for bridal photos, and I forgot the light meter. We're an hour out from the studio. I get yelled at in front of a client, which was great because I'm 22. I need to be yelled at anyway.
Yeah.
And so I really thought I was going to get fired. I didn't get fired. We get the film back, which takes several days, and perfect exposure, every single one of them. All he is walk out there. Yeah, F8. And so I was like, how did you nail every single one of these? He goes, well, in the Navy, we didn't have light meters. Like, well, why do you own one? Why are you
using this tool?
If you could nail this mentally with your RB that he's been using for, at that point, like 35 years.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah. The tool. And I do think that, like, the tools sometimes obstruct you a little bit.
Yeah. No, that was one of the things that I actually was like, that it was like a party trick, and so he'd been doing it long enough. He just kind of got to know it. And
it's the most rhythm with autism party trick, because it's like a small group of people in that room.
For like 2 years, I walked around with my little fucking light meter and was doing that, and got to a point where it's like, yeah, you do use that so much especially when you're inside and you're like, okay, I'm 800, like I'm going to shoot it, 5.6 and probably around 60, and you'll get, at least now with digital, if I'm shooting raw, it's like, yeah, you're in the ballpark. And from there I can be like, okay,
Yeah, and at some points it's just, you've just memorized your settings. Like, I can go set up a headshot with my lights that I've used forever and say, I'm going to shoot an ISO 100 F8, 1/200th. I'm going to set this light up at a quarter power. This light's going to be an 1/8 power. It's gonna be perfect as soon as I hit the button.
Yeah.
Because you just know your equipment. And I think that's from people who we were talking about always having the newest thing and always changing equipment. It's the reason you suck is because you keep changing things. You never learn what you have.
Never got a program together.
Right.
And I always feel like people need to limit themselves. Like, like you're saying, when people ask what to buy, I always say, just if you've never done photography, you want to take it serious, buy one lens and don't make it a zoom. Buy a 50 millimeter.
Yeah.
And like my first camera was a K1000, and I had that 50 millimeter. That's all I had for like 8 years.
Yep.
So she got me this. So I was shooting on a D3000. So that's a 28 through 120. And so most all of everything I've shot, I have a Prime 50. I had that one for rental properties, but I've shot most of my stuff around the world with that kit lens. And I know everyone's always like, oh, it's a kit lens. I'm like, I don't give a shit, because I usually hike up mountains one-handed with that camera in. I take selfies with it. I don't give a fuck. If it gets fucked up, I'm not mad about the lens. I'm mad about the body.
I'll tell you, my workhorse was my 24 to 105 that fixed F4.
Yeah, I love that.
I actually ended up, I had
He
three
gave it
of
a
them.
full military honor salute. Like, yeah.
Well, I did bounce one off my garage floor, so I was like, oh, I'm getting a new one.
For 5 years, I carried the 24 to 105 on one body and the 7200 on the other.
Yep. Yeah. I had the 28 to 70, and the 16 to 35, and like the 2.8s. Fucking boat anchors one, and it was like I never that 70 was like, I just wished I had you want like a little more, and it was so heavy, and it was like, I'm tired of carrying, so it's like that 24 to 105 worked for everything I needed it to. And it was like I said, 95% of the time it was on my body.
So did y'all shoot primes much?
So I bought so from which we will not name them. I don't know why not, but so I bought a Prime 50. I was out at his shop, and I never.
Who? Hank?
Oh, Hank dog. So I went out to Hank. So here's what happened is
he's king of the bees now.
Yeah. So I shot a lot in high school on a digital that was very early digital at that point. I've never actually been in a black room. I've never actually got to do it. So I've always wanted to. So if you're like, oh, why didn't you? Yeah. So I always
that was what. So when I first went in a dark room and like actually developing a print and watching it pop up in the developer, that's magic.
I've always wanted to do it. Never got to do it, but I've always been digital. So I shot.
You should do it once. And you'll realize real quick, I don't want to ever do this again.
Yeah.
It's like I equate it to, I have a buddy that does some photography, and I said it's like tuning 4 Unikey carburetors or Del Toros all together to be in sync. And he's like, oh yeah, you're just as fucking annoyed by it. But anyway, so I started out on digital, then I shot in high school forever, and then I quit, and then we were on our honeymoon, and I'd gotten a D3000 on Black Friday one time. So I kind of said, I want to take photos again. And I never did. And she said, you're taking that fucking camera with you, because you're getting it and you're fucking putting it. So I shot all these photos on our 30 days through Europe for our honeymoon. And then I really liked it. And I was shooting photos on it. And I had kit of the kit. That's the worst camera I've ever used. And that's the best camera I've ever used. And then, so I wanted a full frame. So I got that D750. And then I got that 28 through 120, and I was like, dude, I'm going to do all kinds of fucked up shit with this
Yeah.
thing. I don't really give a shit. Like, all the time, I'm going to shoot whatever I'm going to shoot. I know exactly what it's going to do. I like it doing this. Well, I was going out. I had got that, and I was trying to figure out how to get it to do certain things. I couldn't figure out long exposure because I didn't know. I hadn't got my book I always suggest. So I go out to Hank's for a photography class. I got off of Groupon, and the lady was like, well, I've got my book. So I go out there. And I'm like, well, I kind of want to do this. And she's like, oh, well, that's weird. Just do it like this, and this in Photoshop. She doesn't really help me with anything. She was very, very sweet, but like I wasn't asking the right questions. She was not explaining. So I walked over. I was like, what's that little goofy looking lens over there? And she goes, it's a Prime 50. I was like, I'll take one of those and I'll take this other thing. And I took that Prime 50. I had the best photo of my dog I've ever taken. That's my favorite photo I've ever taken.
I think I have every version Canon makes of the 50.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah.
And people will be like, what's your favorite Prime? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I got this one fucking 50 Prime I've had for 10 years.
Yeah. I had one of the metal base 50s, and then was, I don't know, one of the first versions of it, and it was, I loved it. Had the 35 1.4, had the 85 1.2, which was amazing.
I've always wanted to go that length.
It was too good because nobody needs a fucking depth of field that small.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, why are the tips of your eyelashes
so prominent right now?
so in focus and everything else is blurry?
Yeah.
Well, it's good for low light.
It is.
Shit.
It is.
It's good for focusing in low light.
Yeah.
No, but I really think it's important. I'm what I call a prime supremacist, but I think it's really important to
Optimus.
This is the most nerdy episode I think we've done in a while, and that's the best joke I get to clip. I'm gonna clip that as starting at the episode.
So I think it's really important to go out and shoot and limit yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
And grow. Like 2024, I do rodeos not for money, just for fun.
Uh-huh.
I've been doing that for 16 years, and I went to run rodeo. I just took a 24 and 85, and I did that all year long.
Yeah.
And that was my best year of what I got because I had nothing else, and I got action from inside the ring, and I got behind the scenes stuff. And
my favorite Fuji lens that I have is it's 18.2, and I love it. And like that one, I'll put it on the X Pro 3, and like that combo to me is like, it's a perfect size, it's wide enough, but because it's come out, that comes out at about a 27, I think, or somewhere in that neighborhood. But I've got a 23, I've got, the 35, and I've got a lot of the other primes, but I like that. I like the really wider.
Yeah.
And the 35 is nice, but when I started shooting primes, it was like, I got to move and not be lazy.
Yeah.
There's times when it's like, okay, because it's kind of nice when I'll like get back into it for myself, and I'm like, oh yeah, I really do enjoy doing this,
as Canon prices have been dropping like stone on lenses.
Right.
I've been buying up lenses, and the 35 is the one I don't have.
Yeah.
That I really want, but I also don't need it. So I can't justify it.
Right.
It's like,
you're like, if someone gave it to me, I'd love it. But
my buddy had that.
When I can find one for less than $800.
Yeah. My buddy had the tilt shift one, and like where he was doing the stuff where it was like from up high, so it looks like figure model, micro. And I'm like, that is so fucking cool.
I want to try it.
It's so weird on Instagram. I see so many people with the TSE lenses.
Yeah.
And they're just making people look miniatures. I'm like, this is a real purpose, right?
Yeah.
That's so
my favorite Canon prime I had the fisheye, the Canon, what was it? The 8mm fisheye. I
got to tell you, there's nothing I hate worse than fisheye.
Oh, you want to hear a cool fisheye story?
I was not a skater from 1994.
So I get I get my D3000, and I don't know all the different lenses, and I have like an 18 through 55, and I think it's like a 101 something through 400. It's all it's crop sensor and all that shit. And then so I was looking up different lenses, and I was trying to figure out some shit, and I found this one for like $12, and I was like, ship it to the house. And it's aluminum body. It's a fisheye, and you change the aperture with this little disc thing that you have.
Is it the Russian one?
No, it's I can't remember the name of it. It's a cool lens. I've used it a couple times. That's the area of study. I know it's not your favorite, but that's where it pushes me out of my limits because I have to go like, oh fuck, what's in there? Oh fuck! All right, how do I make this look cool? Because and I've got some really cool photos. Like it's a bunch of shit I didn't think I would ever take like that. Like a bunch of holiday photos where I'm like, that's cool.
Anytime I see a fisheye, I think about back in the day, like in the 90s.
Yeah.
The Vans commercials and
The
shit.
skater kids had the GL ones with the fisheye on it,
Yeah,
and they'd be
yeah.
like down here, like the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, well, and so but I laugh about that too because I'm like, when I was a kid, I'm like, well, how would I do that? And now I'm like, fuck, I can go do that shit tomorrow. I just don't. How am I going to figure out where I'm going to go do it at? Am I going to go do it in the tunnels? Am I going to fall down there, fall down some stairs? But yeah, the prime lens, that 50 prime, I forgot it was on my body one day because I carry it and that with me when we go travel. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So it made me push out and go, what the fuck? And I'm like, now I'm in trying to take that photo. And now I'm just like, okay, cool. I'm going to go do this, and this, get the shot I want. Really improved myself. But
see, as I've gotten older, I'm also like, I'm not bringing the kitchen sink and everything else.
No.
I'll bring a camera,
the
a body,
8400 stays in my
I'm
fucking
like
cabinet.
a body and a lens.
I'm bringing exactly what I need to accomplish this task.
Yeah.
And because I used to be really bad at like, well, what if?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I think,
Yeah.
and
I
I
did
think
that.
I think guys are the worst at that.
Yeah.
And I used to like when I was at Roast Day, I used to tell the guys, I go, listen, I've been there, I've done that. You don't need that big giant lens.
It ain't doing you any fucking good other than hurting your back.
Yeah.
Listen, the NFL's not calling, man. You're never going to use that.
Yeah.
You need to buy exactly what you need and then make money doing that.
Yeah. Rent the fucker first.
Yeah.
So my buddy that teaches videography, so I was like, man, I was talking to him about some lenses. He's like, rent it. And I was like, from who? Like, who would I rent it from? He goes, B&H. He gives me like a whole fucking house full of places. He's like, yeah, call this place. Like, because he lived in Dallas for a long time. He's like, oh man, call Job Bob over here. He's got fucking 40 of those. Like, there's some guy that uses them. Like, so I would rent shit every so often. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm never gonna fucking own this. So okay, I got my uses out of it. Now I don't need it now.
Yeah, and that's a good way to find out what you don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not
Dip
dropping
your toe in.
Yeah, not dropping $2,000 is on
Unless you know a crackhead and then a really wealthy guy that's all about his hobbies.
You know, that's something interesting too, is like in OKC, we kind of missed, in big cities, they have rent studio houses that rent stuff out. And I follow this guy in London, Tin House.
Yeah.
And he talks about like, sometimes he doesn't take any equipment on a shoot. He rents everything, including the camera. And he takes a little thing of memory cards.
Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't exist here at all. I have to
No.
own.
No, you have to bring everything in with us.
I mean, even as an employee, I had to own some of my own stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and the thing about that is like I know guys that do big movie production stuff where they're like, yeah, we're going to rent. Even musicians, like, I was watching this lady that's like, oh yeah, I'm going on this tour, so she wants this drum sound. So she went to I can't remember the guy's name, but he's like the drum guy in LA. He's like, well, you're gonna get this one for this and that and that and that. And so she's written that whole kit for that whole tour. I'm like, what? What? That's an option? I just could rent a drum set for an afternoon? And they're like, yeah, if you pay enough money.
I went to, I was at what's that big building across from the mall, Penn Square?
Oh, 50 Pin Place?
Yeah. And so there's this semi there and it's from LA.
Uh-huh.
And I walk out, did my little photo shoot with a headshot of some dude. I come back out and there's these guys out there and they open the back and it's a rent house.
Uh-huh.
So there was a movie being made there and they had rented the equipment they need from LA.
Yeah.
Came into some, they opened it up and it's just all C-stands.
Oh, wow.
I heard Angel sing a little bit. I was so excited. I went and put a blanket over the only 2 C-stands I own. I was like, I'm a little embarrassed now. Like,
You're like, can I come in and look at that?
Yeah, I'd like to see that. So that same buddy that does all that stuff. So for my bachelor party, he was going to be the best man, but he wound up not being. So he was like, I can't come to your bachelor party because I was living in Dallas, or he was living in Dallas. He's like, I can do one with you, and then next weekend you can go do it with everybody else. And he's like, we're going to call it the Sad Bachelor Party. But he's like, it will be cool because you'll be behind a major network like production. I was like, what are we doing? He's like, you're getting paid a lot of money to stand on the sidelines. So I did Palabra mic on the corner of an OU game.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So he was like, you're going to get there at 6 because he's also sober. So he's like, do whatever you want after the game. Like, you can get as fucked up as you want. Get there at 6. We're going to walk around. He was doing utility cable. So he was over and undering the whole time. And then so I held the mic and he's like, yeah, check that out. Check that out. Check that out. And he's like, here's a big truck that does this. He's like, here's a generator that powers just half of that. And I'm like, it's a 53-foot tractor trailer. That's just a gigantic generator, but it's quiet. It's a quiet generator. He's like, Yeah, and then they want this, so they'll call and some guy will run this down, and here's your C stand because that's what you want or whatever. And I'm like, how much money and just equipment is here? And he's like, yeah, you don't want to talk about the talent, like. But it's crazy to see those big productions like that, especially in Dallas, where they're not as big, but they're starting to get bigger now because they're getting incentives and all that stuff. It's the amount of shit that goes into that. You're like, can like 4 of those fall off? just 4 of those, and it's not going to kill their budget.
Nope.
No,
they don't even
care.
They may not even know.
Yeah.
One of our 5,000 fell off. It's like, who's doing that?
I know another.
Where is it? I don't know. It's back there somewhere.
I know another guy that was doing what the fuck? It was a reality show out in Atlanta, and so they kept leaving shit at like these houses. It was trap house kind of based for MTV, maybe I think, or I don't know.
Cribs.
It wasn't cribs, but it was in that vein. But they would like go through and they'd set up all this shit, and then like they would like break down half the set and like then fucking leave it. And they're like, we're not coming back to this. That's it today. So he just kept going and putting it in his Suburban. And so he's like, I have all this equipment that they clearly no one was going to come back and get. But now I have a studio built in the backyard of my house. I'm like, dude, it must be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, just keep it and wait. I've been waiting for you to come back.
Yeah, dude, I've been waiting for you to come
back. It's not like I stole it. You left it at my house, and I've used it to make money.
And actually, you owe me storage fees.
You know what the crazy part about that, mentioning that, so it's not storage, but I did the Prolabrilla for Fox, and that was who was going to pay me. And they said, this is what your day rate is. And I said, I wasn't planning on getting paid today at all. So this sounds great. And I don't watch football, but on the sidelines, you're fucking engaged because you're at the goal line.
You know,
yeah, because you might get run over.
Yeah. Listen, I feel almost the opposite. Because I've had this conversation like I don't go after like shooting at like even college football level.
Yeah.
I really enjoy high school.
Because they're playing with their heart.
But well, it has a lot more to do with the sideline.
Yeah.
Because I did an OSU game years ago. And it was fun because it was after the remodel.
Yeah.
Boone Pickens walked across the field on the opposite side of play. Why play was happening.
Yeah.
And no one said anything.
Because Boone fucking Pickens.
We're in Boone's house. What are you going to say?
Yeah. Hey, man, by the way, can you back it up?
You see that name out there?
Read it and weep, dickhead.
Taps on it.
Yeah, he taps on anything. He just taps on himself. He's like,
no, but okay. So like the buffet for the journalists was great.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like you weren't allowed to walk past the team. If you wanted to go to the other side, you had to walk around like
that.
And everything was just so overcrowded and so overbig. But you go to like these little ones, you get a lot of action. You got a lot of freedom.
Yeah. You can move.
But I tell people like I'm a waste of space at something like a big OSU game because I'm not a sports guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. I
don't know. There's like touchdown.
I told something today, like I go to these high school basketball games. I don't know basketball positions. I don't know who these kids are. I don't know. I don't know who NBA players are. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
I know where the action is, and I know how to point the camera in that direction and get good photos.
Yeah.
So when I go, I don't engage at all because.
Well, and that was my thing. I don't know. I've gotten to know more sports since then, but like they were like, you're pointing the microphone at where the hits are coming.
Yeah. So
So I was like, if I was shooting with my long lens right here, I'd be like, right there. I want to see that shit right there. But it was cool as fuck to be able to. So
no, when I've shot several Thunder games, and it was kind of the same thing where they're like, okay, your spot is there.
Yeah, that was so my spot was
you're on the court, and they're like, do not cross this line. But you can't get. You're on this like 2.5 foot, 3 foot section.
Basically
of the
the size of this table was where I was able to go,
and it's like the court. So you're sitting on the wood and you're like crisscross applesauce,
which is uncomfortable as fuck.
Oh yeah. I'm like, I can't move. Like, how do you expect me to get up? I'm fucking old, but
I'm gonna have to roll over my side.
Everything is fucking up. And then when they come up and you're like watching to get the shots and then, they just fell into you, you know, and you're like, I'm trying not to get fucking trampled.
And see, this is what I don't like about it. Cause I can shoot a high school basketball game. It's me and one kid from the school paper. And
he's like, what are you shooting on?
That's why I like,
hey, what's your f-stop?
Hey man, is your ISO at 12,000 right now? Cause mine's at 12,000.
That's why I like shooting concerts, especially like credentialed. So I'm up front, I'm in the pit, and usually it's like first 3 songs, no flash. And so again, lighting is very difficult because stage lighting
it's awful.
is awful. And you've got,
Do you want to see some of my dog? No, I'm kidding.
no,
It is
I mean,
bad.
it is bad. So you learn to, okay, I need, if I get, well, they're behind, or this light is behind them, it kind of halos them, and it's like, okay, spots over here, and you figure it out and you make it work. But it is a lot of on the fly, and you're all of a sudden, you're shooting 800 ISO, and then they turn all the lights on, and you're like, fuck,
Yeah, and I'm even even in the most tame situations with stage lighting, like I did, I went and shot a dance performance at OU.
Yeah.
And it was like ballet type dance, right?
Yeah.
And even there, like the center of the stage was 2 stops over the edge of the stage.
Yes.
And to your eye, it looks very flat.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just need to come talk to these people as they're turning these lights on. Because there's no reason for that. Because they want it to look flatter, and it doesn't need to fall off, because there's nothing in the performance that is dramatic like that. It's naturally just set up to be awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And direct, shadowy, which is fine, but you wait for the stuff to have in the middle. But yeah, I shot a concert. The last one I did, and I grew up like loving like behind the scenes of concerts like in the 70s and 80s.
Right.
And that's how Annie Leibovitz got her start, Rolling Stones.
Right.
And she just go hang out like Led Zeppelin in the back of the stage. And now they're so over PR'd.
Yes.
The last one I did was Kings of Leon, like in 2013.
Okay.
And they said, we're going
As
to
a Paycom.
Yeah. We're going to give you 3 songs. And I got to stand in a spot about this big.
Yeah.
And they came out after halfway through the second song and said, they're starting to sweat. We need you to leave.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are really doing your guys a disservice in the long term.
Yeah.
Because what the fans want to see is everything that's happening, everything before, everything after. But you're controlling this so much to where it's just,
They're not going on fucking Vanity or Vogue or GQ with this.
I've had them where Cyndi Lauper, as a matter of fact, it was.
Don't ruin this for me.
She was like, we're going to get first 3 songs. Then they come down and they're like, okay, she doesn't want you to shoot the first song. So it's going to be second, third, and fourth song. Whatever. I'm getting 3. I'm getting paid. We get 3. We get down there. Literally, I'm shooting. It was me. It was like 2 other photographers, that we're credentialed. So we're like, they walk us up. We get in the pit, and sitting there shooting. And I'm like, I just start doing my thing. And all of a sudden I get tapped on my shoulder, and the lady's like, no photos. And
Did you show your badge and like, fuck off?
No, I just looked at her, and then I go back to shooting because I'm like, get fucked. I'm credentialed. Yeah. But they're like, no, she's decided she doesn't want any photos. And so,
which is
literally 20 seconds in, it's like, and we're done, And so it's like, hey, I still got some, but
I still got my nut. So I have a couple of different friends that are in different bands. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, take your time. No worries. Just you enjoy yourself in there. Remember, if you go for the bidet, it looks right in the eye. It's gonna go for blood. That was fast as fuck, boy.
He's like,
he's got the little dick. He doesn't take very long to get out.
He's like, I don't have prostate issues. I can pee.
Yeah. He's like, what's it?
He's not at that age yet.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not that old yet.
I remember I went to the eye doctor several years ago, and she's like, so you're wearing readers? And I was like, I'm not that old. I was like a little insulted, right?
Yeah.
And that was in May. And by August,
you were in fucking readers.
I had bought a pack.
Yeah. So I fought it in my 40s. I'd go to get my.
Do you need more emergency or anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. And my eye doctor was like, hey, you could really benefit from bifocals. I was like, I'm not that fucking old. Get fucked. And
I had a buddy in high school that got
then
bifocals.
I was doing this with my phone, and I'm like, fuck, I can't see. And went back in, and I was like, man, I can't see my phone. He's like, yeah,
motherfucker, bifocals.
I'm in this weird
then I went to him, and I'm like, these are amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm
go get a fucking sleep study done so you get a CPAP. Goddamn.
What do you think I'm doing Saturday instead of the Polar ride?
Good. Oh, did you look at my view? Never mind.
Hey, go to the doctor, bitch.
I did.
So, I'm in this weird state. My vision keeps changing, but like the hardest part I have with my vision is that perfect distance between me and the monitor.
Yeah.
Like, with
How
my
do
like with my contacts, I can't quite find the right readers.
Yeah.
But I went to the eye doctor last year, and she actually she gave me these transition glasses that give me, because I told her, I said, what I need my glasses with a little bit of readers on top of them. And that's what she made me. But then they have a bifocal in the bottom of them. And they're pretty good, but my vision's changing. Every year I go, my vision changes just a little.
So
Yeah.
I've had glasses since I was 12 or 13, and I finally, what was it, 2 years ago is when it finally plateaued? I called you to tell you. I was like, I finally, after like having glasses my whole life, where it changed drastically.
I've slept since then.
And he slept so badly since then. I'm glad you're getting your fucking sleep so you're done. But mine finally plateaued enough where I could like order the same fucking glasses every year, and I could not be more excited.
Yeah, for a long, long time, my vision was like between age 22 and 42.
It just keeps changing.
Mine was steady.
Oh,
Because
really?
I started wearing glasses when I was like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I plateaued when I was like 15.
Well, and so my optometrist, shout out to Dr. Paul Snowden, he was like, if you'd come in 2 years before, you probably wouldn't need to have glasses as long as you would be able to like just use them in class. And then your astigmatism, you'd probably be okay with. But he's like, your parents didn't come get you because I faked my way through school enough. I couldn't read the board. And then finally I got to the point where it was shit I didn't know about. And I was like, oh, fuck, I can't.
Yeah, mine got so bad so quick I couldn't fake it.
Yeah.
But, stigmatism, when I started eating readers, my stigmatism went away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to get LASIK done. That was what I really wanted to get. So I didn't have to have glasses anymore. And they're like, your astigmatism's going to still be there.
Mine was good until I got diabetes. The diabetes. And then I'm like, I can see about 3 feet, and then everything else past that was blurry. And I'm like, thank God for autofocus, because I had to work, and I'm like, I can see a blob, and so I just put everything on there, and I could see the red where it would focus on it.
Yeah, I'm in a mode where I'm trusting the process a lot.
Yeah.
Because when I get behind there, I can generally see, but I can't do the fine motor.
Yeah.
The fine little detail thing. But if I have my readers, I can put them on and look at the viewfinder behind there. I really need like. I was thinking about, this is the whole topic. Those Apple Vision glasses came out.
Yeah.
And you could order prescription things and stuff. I was like, I need that for the back of my camera.
Yeah.
So I have a guy that was talking about that on some camera. He's like, I have all this shit that's on my camera because he's like almost blind. He's like, so I made all this shit so I can see it without my glasses. So I can be like, yep, I got it. It's good to go. And I'm like, what? Where did you? And I don't know. He was out of London, but I'm like, tell me more about this. Cause like my diopter on that, I have dialed in, but like most of the time, I'm like,
yeah, when that happened, when mine, I couldn't see. And so I was like, at the time, I was like, it's my ex-wife now, but at the time I was like, is this, I can't see.
Does this look like it's sharp?
And so then I call an eye doctor and they're like, you got the diabetes. And I was like, no, I don't. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, you do. So,
your brother's over there like, I'm gonna take your foot.
It's like, what's your blood sugar? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me check it. 785. And he's like, you got the diabetes.
So I got stressed out in my 30s, and I got it earlier than most people in the family.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because most people in the family, in their late 50s.
Yeah.
Like my dad. But I think that's also good because like I saw well, okay. So I saw the older people in the family get diabetes and never take it overly serious.
Yeah, because they're like, I'm dying anyway.
And then I watched them die, and I was like, no, I'm taking this super serious.
Yeah.
Because like my dad, like he hid like Fig Newtons in the nightstand, like, and he would always talk about how to beat the test. He goes, before you go to the doctor, here's how you beat the test. I go, I don't want to beat the test.
I just need him to tell me what the fuck is going on.
Because this test is keeping me alive.
Yeah.
You get all wonky when it's not right. Yeah.
And and seeing it in my vision and getting all the scares about my vision, and I knew a photographer who didn't take it seriously and got the macular degeneration.
Yeah.
It's like,
dude.
It's like, nope, this is my thing. I gotta. Everything revolves around keeping my vision going.
Yeah.
You can't hear tits.
This is true. I mean, you can. I mean, there's a couple.
Brent was
Brent
was not ready for that joke.
There's a couple people on Instagram.
Yeah,
I didn't know that made sounds.
It just sounds like this.
Yeah.
No.
So that meme has been making it around Instagram, and I keep getting it sent. But when I was in auto body at 16, the professor delivered it a little bit nicer than that. But he was like, you need to wear PPE because there's certain things like you can hold your child with a nub, but you can't like play with their hair because they're gonna freak the fuck out and scream about it. And so he was like, you can't hear your beautiful
Halloween will be my day.
if I'm a pirate, I'm gonna have 2 peg hands. But he's like, you can't hear the beauty of someone else's face. And then he eventually kind of said, he's like, you can't hear an ass walking up. And I was like, I mean, I think you probably could do it. Yeah, but
So my dad had his ears blown out in Vietnam, and he paid for it later because he was losing his hearing. And I took him to the doctor one time, and the doctor's like, "Okay, so you're gonna need the hearing aids because you could no longer hear kids speaking or women speaking." He's like, "No, I'm good."
yeah, he was like,
He's like,
no. Hey,
he's
listen.
like, excellent.
I have it. Can you write that down on paper right now? I'd let you write that down right now.
And he never did get the hearing aids. The kids would be there like yelling at him.
He's like,
It's like,
What do you want?
It's amazing.
yeah. One of my buddies, so he's had hearing loss throughout his life, but he's got Bluetooth, and he's like, so I was talking to him one time, and he's like, hold on. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like totally got, because he can control it individually. So he's got mono for not stereo. He's got mono. He's like listening to some new song while he's talking to everybody. He's like, hey man, sorry, I was over here jamming out. I'm like, what the fuck, man? He's like, hey man, go liquor. It's cool. It's cool to be deaf for a little bit. I'm like, he's like, I wasn't going to listen to anything you were saying anyway, but I was like, thanks, man.
Like, I love you too.
I haven't seen him for a hot minute, but last time I heard he was still shooting and blowing shit up. But yeah. So you still have the studio, and that's the
No. So I had a studio, and then during the studios that way back when, I guess that was 2007 or 8. That's when me and my first wife, or only wife, my ex-wife, separated. And it was a weird time where the studio was in demand when I first rented. It was like a very commercial. It was crap. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was a very commercial space, and it was in demand. But then during that time, people were like, "We really just want you to come to us."
okay.
Yeah.
And I bitched every month about that $400 check, and it was $400 a month. I pay more for that now for a storage unit.
No shit.
But then there was a business called Sailor Training. They're still there. And I had a little bit of trade out deal with him and his marketing guy. And I had a little studio, and it was great for doing headshots and what I call video headshots, just, belly up stuff. I did that for a long time. And I left there last year because the whole point of me buying a house is the kids are out of the house, and now I can really make a house geared toward business.
Yeah.
Right.
So I've only been there since October, and I was going to have it all done by now, but then I got busy, and then I got, whatever COVID thing is happening in my head.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not COVID,
Right.
I had this. It's just,
I like how he says that now. He's like, how long's that counter been going for? 2.5 hours? Yeah.
So
What's the new one going on? Nipper? Or
yeah, whatever it is now.
When you said that to me, I was like, God, no, no.
So over time, I'll be converting the garage. I'll be painting it all white and converting it to an actual studio. And then there are 2 extra rooms in the house that'll be photography geared. And then it was a really good excuse to buy the biggest TV I could put on the wall.
Yeah.
To meet with clients. Because, I'm going to show them, your 2 options that you can do. You can project or buy the biggest TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can show them, a 16 by 20, a 30 by 40 in real size.
Yeah.
And so I have that software. And
I will say this too is so from the architecture side of things, that we only did one projector when I was there for 6 years. Everything else is all TV screen. It was all NECs and stuff. So when our guy that shot our company Christmas photos is an Australian guy, I was picking his brain one time. I was like, how do you like? And he's like, oh, I shoot for screen because I'm looking at it on a TV screen. So I go home and make sure it looks good on a TV screen of the size of wherever it's going to be at.
Right.
Or I go over to their office like really early one morning or really late one night and make sure it doesn't look dumb as shit on their TV. And I'm like, good to know. Good to know.
yeah. And TVs have come a long way. Like this one,
Yeah.
I can actually color calibrate and has a 4th color channel.
Yeah. That's what he was talking about.
Is
He
it
was-
a Hisense or something?
yeah. But that's so.
And it just so happens to play Lord of the Rings.
The Hobbit.
whatever nerdy thing I'm watching.
Yeah. I mean, that's, like here, like, I was like, everyone's like, oh, well, you have a studio at your house? I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's not like,
The new Game of
And
Thrones.
I was a little I never got it. I never.
I never got into that either.
I'm more of a traditionalist, and I like my brother liked the Game of Thrones, but I was like, I never thought in my head, what I need is Lord of the Rings with porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I got
just
porn and I got Lord of the Rings, not both.
Old dildo saggins.
And I've, in interviews I've lived,
Look it up.
No, I've seen it. Don't worry. Lord of the G strings. I've seen that one too.
and in interviews I've learned that writer really also irritates me.
Oh yeah, R. Martin.
Yeah, right.
I saw a really great interview with him, and it was him and Stephen King.
Yeah.
And he was asking Stephen, how do you write every day? He goes, I just sit down and do it. He goes, no, but how do you get the motivation? He goes, it's a job. I sit down and do it.
I go to fucking work, dude. I'm writing about a lamp taking fucking heads today, dude. It's not that big of a deal.
He's like, you just do the work, man.
Yeah. Talking about that, Stephen King, if you go back and look at his early, like how he got into it, his wife and him were both writers.
Yeah.
And he kept throwing his script in the trash can, and his wife was like, well, this is the best thing I've ever read. And I think it was Maximum Overdrive. I was like, it's a great movie as a car guy, but like, great movie.
Listen, when I was 10, that was a fantastic
Oh, dude, I still fucking today.
Yeah.
I'll drop everything I'm doing if I see it on TV.
Dude, all his early.
Cujo. Yeah, I think Cujo.
Christine.
Yeah, Christine.
That was one of my dad's favorites because he's a car guy.
Yeah.
And I still love to go look up the scene where Christine is chasing him down, goes in the gas station, explodes. Christine's on fire, chasing the guy down there. That's just good cinematography.
Yeah.
It's still beautiful.
There's so much stuff and this is something I was just watching because it was like, how did this guy do this masking for this Michael Jackson video? And he's like, well, how did they do this back in the 80s? Because like I have like DaVinci Pro and I can't get it to do that shit now. And they're like, they did what they did with what they had. So go figure that out. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, there's like, lower the budget, the better the film.
Yeah.
It's like, you can only have good script, good actors, or good budget. Like,
That's what I was saying about photography. Limit yourself.
Yeah.
And you're going to make magic.
If your sandbox is the desert,
you'll figure it out.
I think for every creative endeavor, when you have every option and every tool available, you're going to produce crap because you have every tool, every option available.
Yeah. It's too much shit.
Yeah, you have too much to plow through.
That overload where you get to a point you don't know what to do or where to go or what to use.
Yeah.
And when you, like you said, limit yourself, you have one lens. So you have to get off your ass and you need to run over that way 20 yards and, get on your fucking stomach or crawl up in a fucking tree to get that interesting shot, you know, and not the one that everybody sits here and goes click, click,
Yeah.
And, zooms are great and all the modern conveniences are great, but people, like, I'm as guilty as anybody. I get lazy, and it's like there's times when I'm like, I don't really want to do that, but then I'm like, fuck, okay, go do it, because I know in the end it'll make for a better shot, and it's like, because you'll take one and you're like, fuck, that's boring, I don't like it, and so, oh well, if I go over here and crouch down, and then it's like, oh well, that's more interesting, but
I think that's one of the things is just pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, and making it where you don't have the biggest safety net. Because like people ask, like I made that TikTok thing where the other day where I was like, people legitimately ask me once a week about podcasting. How do I get into it? Just go, what do you want to do? What do you want it to be about? Like, do you want it to be about true crime? It's going to be, whatever you want. Well, what equipment, man? How do you want it on Zoom? Do you want it on this? Do you want it on that? Like,
the best equipment you can afford at the time.
Best camera is the one you have on you. Like, don't shoehorn yourself into something that you can't do because you won't go past what you think you have to have. Like, go get a Zoom H4 and a couple microphones and go listen to it. Oh, it doesn't sound as good as I want it to be. Okay, well, go do this instead. Like, figure that out. Like,
or make it work. It's like that's all you can afford. You'll make it work. It's like
the cigar guitar boxes.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, people out here listening to like, the Two Bears, One Cave, with Bert and
there's a
Tom,
full production
and
team
it's like,
behind that.
there is 12 to 15 people working on that set. It's in a fully soundproof room. You know, it's like everything is perfect in that.
Because that's
era.
what they've all done.
Yeah.
But like, you know, some of my favorite photos I've ever taken, like I said, I never shot in a studio because I was never to that level of like, well, because if you put me in one, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do with any of this shit. You tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I just lease the space. But some of my favorite photos are just the accidental, like, I'm trying my best and that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Like, I have a killer photo from the Vatican on my D3000. I would never thought I would have ever taken with that D3000. It's like the largest thing
a lot
I've
of
ever
it's
printed.
just getting out and actually taking a photo, you know, like seeing something and being like, I'm going to turn around and take, you know, go take some photos. And then it's like, you know, because if you're like, that'd be a great photo and keep going on, you know, or, you know, it's actually like seeing something on the news and like, you know, I'm going to run over and, you know, I did that a couple years ago with a picture of Lake Hefner I took that when it was like 14 below and you had all the steam coming off the water and it was doing the little twisty tornado things because of the temperature differential, you know, and so it ran over and it was sunset and it worked out where there was about a 10-minute window and I'm like, click, click, click. And I'm like, oh yeah, that one turned out really nice.
I think it's equal parts of being inspired and also just really disappointed in yourself.
Yeah.
I was thinking that could have been better. So I'm going to go do that again.
Yeah.
How do I make this sound or look or perform better or do whatever better? Like,
well, I mean, you know, for every picture you see that I put out, there's 300 to 1,000 that don't get it. You know, it's like out of when I would shoot film, if I got one good photo out of a roll of film, that to me was, you know, 1 to 3 photos out of a roll of film is a success rate. You know, I mean, it's not I know Ansel Adams and all them, you know, everybody else that works out, not every photo is a great photo. You know, it's like, you also have to understand that takes a lot of prep, a lot of planning, you know, kind of figuring out what you want. And then sometimes it's just fucking luck. You turned a corner and looked and like click. Oh, wow. That's perfect.
What I hate about myself is, and this happens more often than like, I can plan a photo and have all the time in the world to plan it, get my equipment ready, whatever. And I'm just never happy with it.
Yeah.
And then there's the days where I'm sick, I'm stressed, I have 20 minutes to get something done. And I get in there and I'm just like, like, and then I get a really awesome photo. And I'm
you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not even quite sure how that happened. Like I was on automatic pilot or something.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is like, you know, whoa, that was loud.
Sorry.
So another friend he does oil paintings and stuff like that. You know, he was talking about like an artist is never truly happy with what they're doing. And so I was talking about a photo I had taken. I was like, oh man, if I just done this a little bit better. And he was like, well, you know, why don't you go into your fancy program and change all the things? And it was lighting some stuff. I was combating the sun. I don't know if you've ever done that, but as a ginger, combating the sun's not my favorite thing to do.
Oh no, like this, all the gray that here used to be red.
Yeah. So like we're sitting there and talking about, he's like, well, just go in there and change it and keep fucking with it. And I was like, okay. And I finally got to a point and I was showing him, I was like, what do you think about this? He's like, do you like it? I was like, I mean, I don't know. It's a pretty strong image now, but what I saw in my eye and what I'm seeing right now are pretty close. What you've originally saw, the raw of it. And he was like, well, that's good. Would you put it on a business card? And I'm like, what? He's like, would you put it on your business card? I don't know. So I got a sample business card. I was like, yeah, it looks pretty cool. I was actually pretty happy with it at scale.
Yeah.
So I got like 500 made and he was like, there you go. You got done with it. And I was like, I still would like this and this. He's like, fuck it. It's on the business card. It doesn't matter now. Like,
you know, that's what's funny because like everybody I know who's stuck with photography and basically every creative thing are never really happy with what they're doing.
Yeah. They always want to improve it or
like,
figure it out.
It's like,
something.
I'll take a photo. I'm like, hey, that was really good. And then an hour later, I'm like, that's the worst thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
in the history of photography.
Yeah.
But you're also in the delusion that you can do better.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that creeps up on you over the years. Like, I think it was 2022 before I'm like, you know, I'm not bad at this. I could probably,
I could probably make a living.
I could probably keep going another 20 years.
Yeah.
But,
But
it
pretty
was crazy.
soon people are going to find out I am full of shit.
And it was a long time before I would tell people, I would say I'm a photographer, but then I'd been doing it a long time before I said I'm a professional photographer. I'd let that slip out because I just didn't feel I was, you know, worthy of that title quite yet. I don't want to give them the idea that I was competent for
Yeah. Look, man, just because I have a bunch of equipment and gear does not necessarily know.
I just don't make good financial choices.
Yeah.
don't let this bucket of awards confuse you.
Well, it's like I submitted one that I took in Cuba, and like it got an international award, and like everyone was like, "Oh, he's an internationally awarded photographer." I'm like, "That's dude." They gave me a book. It wasn't even a book about photography. But
You probably
I only tell people that if I'm trying to get money from you.
yeah.
But you probably got this from college too. But like I know people in NOC and UCO and people who are just starting out who just are so proud of themselves because they're just the best thing ever. And they're going to be the next thing to break out. And they last 2-3 years, then they burn out because it becomes hard. It becomes a job. And it's like, they start getting feedback that includes things like, you're really awful at this. You should get better.
Yeah. I always made sure that's, like I said, what I like to do. And I made time
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
for it.
They're cheap.
Like doing long exposure stuff. So there's times when I would go out for me. I'm not shooting for money, but I'm like, I'm going to go do this, and there'd be times when I would get something that would be nice or I wouldn't, but it was like getting back to doing that. Like, oh yeah. Like even now, like I'm not in photography. I still have a couple of jobs a year I do that I've done for, forever. And it's like literally one's pays me a couple $100, but I get dinner at the Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club out of it. And
you do a good thing.
And I do a good thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like I've done it for coming up on 15 years, and so it's like they call me every year and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
That's kind of like what rodeo is for me. Like I do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And because I don't do it in a way that makes good money.
Right.
Because I did that one time. I volunteered for Edmond Roundup Club.
Yeah.
Where we had to photograph every rider doing every single thing, and they ended up being like 8 hours long.
Yeah.
And it was the worst day of photography, maybe the second worst I ever had.
Right.
Because the way I cover it's very documentary style. I get some action, I get behind the scenes, I get a bunch of cute kids, I get a lot of dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's a personal project.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing personal project. And I've got tens of thousands of photos I don't know what to do with. But I think it's important to have something you love doing that's never going to make you money.
Yeah.
Or you can't really imagine making money.
Yeah. I get out now and I'm like, fuck, I really enjoy this. I need to do it more, and then it'll be like, okay, and nothing happens and I don't do it more.
So the thing that I've noticed too is creatively, like he's giving me shit about not editing. I have like 4 years of travel photography. I just don't want to edit. I've shot it. I just can't sit down to edit it.
Send it off. That's so easy. Just
who's gonna pay for? It doesn't matter. I'm gonna edit my own bullshit. But so like now, someday, maybe it'll be.
You took baby photos, and that baby is now a grown man.
But those got shipped. I have all this client stuff that I was like, oh, it's shipped, it's done. I'm not doing any of my own stuff, so I'll do it eventually. But the things I'm enjoying now, where I'll do something where I'm like, that was very easy and simple. That wasn't anything crazy. And to somebody that does this professionally, where not photography, but like video editing or stuff like this, I'm like, oh, I did this, I got it to work, and I like this. I'm proud of that, and I enjoy it. I also realize that that's dog shit to the guy that can be like, Michael Bay hires me to edit his movies or whatever it is. So I still have the proudness of, hey, look at the thing I made, and then it could be better, but look at the thing I made. It's a little bit of both. So,
are you familiar with Vivian Maher, the photographer?
Yeah.
So I think that's where you're headed.
You think
someday they're going to find a box of photos that no one's ever seen.
How? Yeah, oh, goddamn.
And like, this guy's dead now, but look at all this great work he did.
It'll be in a garage sale.
You said two things: dead, which is probably right, but great. That's not right.
I often joke with my brother. I said, he does art stuff and he's a writer. I'm like, really, the goal is just to be appreciated after you're gone.
No, so what I did this last trip is she always asks for like a Christmas card. And I'll go through and be like, here you go, whatever. I have some killer shots I want to go through and look at, but I'm like, I'll look at it later. And so what I was doing is I was taking good photos on my phone so I could be like, here you go. So don't pester me with this when I'm in my office working on other shit that's making money on this shit.
What you need to learn to do is pack some Santa hats. So when you're out on a trip, have somebody take a picture,
bring my hat.
And you're like, now you have Christmas cards done.
What? Dude, you know me for how fucking long now, and you just now suggested this shit?
I mean, Why
Thanks for
haven't you
bearing-
thought about it?
I don't know. That's not a thought process I have. And I don't actually add Santa hats to any of the photos that we send.
No, but I'm just saying, you like Merry Christmas from Prague.
This motherfucker. That's a good idea. To everybody that's never thought about that, you're all welcome.
Yeah.
How often do you travel?
We go international at
Here
least
we
once a
go.
year. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, not
true.
to brag, but I went to Guyman a year ago.
I will say this in that this is a legitimate thing. I have not traveled to the United States as much as I wish I'd have traveled internationally. I do.
That's not your fault.
It's not my fault. I really enjoy traveling internationally. That's really cool. It's places I've never thought I would ever get to see as a kid that was growing up broke, not too far from the fairgrounds and not having any money. It's cool to be able to be like, I've been there, but also like, I would like to go to Guyman. I know that sounds dumb. I've never been.
Yeah.
I've never been. I want to go. I want to go all over the whole world for the most part. There's a couple places I really don't want to go to.
You should
London again.
You should do that tour of Radio Shacks.
Dude, that would be. I'm trying to remember his name. He was a skater, and then he was on. My name is Earl.
Skater boy.
He said, "See you later, boy."
Jason Lee.
Jason
Yeah, Jason Lee.
Yeah,
He just
drove across in like a fucking
85
Caprice.
He did a Caprice. He did an 85 Grand Marquis.
So-
He's
Yeah,
I follow him on Instagram. Yeah.
yeah.
He does.
He actually does
legit photography.
Yeah,
He's got, okay, so he does good work,
yeah.
but I kind of sometimes I feel like I don't understand your style.
I don't.
It's kinda weird.
I think it is.
It
It's a
looks-
little weird.
It's
but
very snapshotty, but like the highest
Yeah.
possible end version where he's buying large format. He
Yeah.
shot Polaroid for a long time because
Yeah.
he hoarded like all the frozen stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I see stuff, I was like, this is really good. I don't need to see it again because
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
something I want to,
Yeah.
it's not like an Ansel Adams where I'm like, I just want to stare at this for a year. And
Dude. So one of the other guys I know from Dallas is a really great photographer. He was like, he shoots basically what you would go and get your disposable camera and go with your grandma. He's like, he's doing that on the best high end. And I was like,
and I think it's important for photographers to look at other photographers and say, this is very good. And I'm not your target audience.
Right.
yeah, and there's
right.
a target audience. There's an ask for every seat. And I'm just not in that seat.
Right.
I think I think that's
Well-
better than saying this is crap because it's not.
It's not crap because like
Yeah.
I've looked at some of his shit where like that's great,
So-
and other things
so
I'm like,
there's a-
what the fuck is this?
There's a guy out there doing. He 3D printed, which makes me want a 3D printer. But he 3D printed a back for a Polaroid for a land camera. But he can snap. He snaps his iPhone in.
yes,
And so it's like you're using the 70s Polaroid land camera that comes out. So it's the lens. You're getting the vintage like look and feel to it, but it's on iPhone. So it's like digital. And instead of having to buy a whole digital back and all this other stuff, it's just like prints this out and click, able to take a picture. And it's like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then there's a guy I follow. He's out of California, Ian Rugers.
is that the guy that's always doing running around getting the big plates and all that stuff?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
wet plate.
Yeah, the wet
And so
plane.
he's got like a whole mobiles thing.
He's have his Tacoma. He's always like, I've only got one way to do this image, and it's like it always
Yeah.
feels like
It's always on the
we're
side.
gonna lose the shot.
well, it's always on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
false emergencies.
yeah. Well, and
It's like life's still gonna go on, man.
yeah, he gets some really killer shit, but like the first one, I was like, oh man, I've never done a wet plate. So I'm like, this is crazy. And after like watching 5 or 6 of them, I'm like, I think you can like breathe, brother.
One of the advantages I had at NOC is when I started college at NOC, we were all film. When I finished
Yeah.
college at UCO, it was all digital.
Yeah.
So I kind of got to experience all that. But we did one time wet plates. One time we developed E6.
Yeah.
And you really learn how you do. I just don't want to live my life doing any of that.
Yeah.
So what's funny is I taught Mark wet plate.
Oh, cool.
So because I was working at the Photography Hall of Fame over in the Omniplex.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's like
I remember when
learned
they
how-
moved here. Yeah.
Yeah, and I learned how to do it, and so was teaching a class how to do wet plate, ambrotypes, daguerreotypes, like doing all the old. And that actually, I fucking love.
He really does love because you've gotten how many of those now?
I've got quite a few.
Is it like 3 or 4 that you've done with her?
Yeah.
Okay, I
yeah.
was gonna say like he really
And
like every time it
I
comes
have
through,
all the
he's
stuff to do it. I have a stack of plates and I have the chemicals. They're 10 years old, of course, but I'm just like, fuck, I want to do it, but I don't have the lights and everything else. And there's so many, it's kind of gotten a resurgence. And so there's been a couple of photographers that have come through town. So I like grab my wife and I'm like, hey,
we're going to go do this.
Yeah. We're going to go do this in like 8x10.
Thanks for the invite, babe.
And, you know, get one done. Cause I'm like, I love the process, you know, and I have a lot like that I've collected from find them at garage sales and stuff like that. And, you know, the old photos, and that's, I like really the nerded out on the science, like the actual, like plating, coating the plates and, you know, like the chemicals. And like, to me, that was what was cool about it. But
yeah, it's a little more than I want to do.
Yeah.
I
get it.
I'm really happy with a sheet of Tri-X and
yeah.
Now we're almost done. So I'm going to ask a legitimate question to both of you guys because I've been thinking about this for a little bit, mostly because this is what I run into. So, on your hobbyist, walls,
balls.
Oh, I thought you said walls. I was like, no. So your friends that are hobbyist photographers that are pretty good, but they're really like in the weeds about it. Are they all engineers?
No.
No. Yes. What do you think?
no.
They do like trains though. A lot
So-
of them
Well, that's
like
fair.
trains.
I would say a lot of them are either graphic designers who say I'm also a photographer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or IT professionals.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
There's been several.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's been several people I've followed on Instagram as photographers to find out later they worked full time in IT, like at OU.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
That
OU
makes sense.
Medical and stuff like that.
So I say that because I've worked with probably 5 or 6 different people that are like, I do photography in my hobby.
Yeah.
And they're getting like pretty decent, like, but they're always like following like a very stringent rule of everything. I'm like, what the? Because it's all mathematical.
I think photography attracts people who are technical because there's such a strong technical aspect to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really the question I should ask. But like, it's
See,
just almost always engineers because like they'll be like, what's the best camera? It doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Follow the rules.
Because if you don't have the eye for it, it doesn't matter what camera you use.
You're just
so
doing this.
when I started out, I was like drawing, painting. So like the way I photograph is how like I don't know. I see it from like an artist's perspective, not a photographer's perspective, but it's like, so the vanishing lines, the like I was used to doing all the rules and, you know, trying to make it interesting, you know, something about that, you know, but, and so when I picked up a camera and started taking pictures, it was like, to me, it clicked. It made sense.
Yeah.
And, you know, seeing and how to frame things, because I've seen people struggle with that. Like,
What I've noticed with people is they either come in from two different directions. They're either creatives that are always going to struggle with the technical side.
Yeah.
But, you know, eventually they can hack out what they need to, or they're very technical and they're always going to struggle with that creative side.
Yeah.
And that's probably me, as I probably struggle more with, especially like posing and composition.
Right.
Because I was a computer nerd as a kid. So I was able to come in as like, oh yeah, this is just a computer that didn't.
Yeah.
You're like StarCraft.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did so for like my senior project when I was at UCO, I did a 7-foot cyanotype. And when I was in Times Square. And so I did a handheld tripod, like click, 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 click. So it was like five different photos and kind of stitched them together. Well, you know, I'm hand holding it. So it's like they were a little off, and like one of them you kind of overlapped because I wanted to get that where it lined up. And so like they weren't all the way I framed it. There was depth this way, and they were kind of off, but it was aligned up. And I know like some people that bothered some people because it wasn't
Technical
perfect.
Yeah.
But then to me, I'm like, I get that, but I did the best with what I had. You know, I didn't have a tripod. It's just kind of like, oh, I'm going to spin here and take a picture, you know.
And I think that's the trouble with a lot of these like engineer photographers, is they can't get past that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been to like meetups with these guys and they want to talk about camera specs. That's
yeah.
You know, at some
It's got
point,
this sensor on it, and it does
at some
this.
point that's so incredibly boring.
Yeah. I know.
Well, yeah, like there's a certain amount of this where I'm like, I would love to know much more about like the large frame and medium format frame. And like, I'd like to know all that stuff. I'm like, I just like that fucking camera. Like, I'm just gonna go shoot.
Like, this shoots 48 megapixels. Well, anything over 20, the human eye cannot detect the difference.
And I don't want to sit down and have arguments about how your 2025 camera is better than my 2024 camera because it's just it's got this much more dynamic range.
This processor, and I'm like, okay, cool.
But I was joked about this guy I know who's bragging about he got a red camera. I'm like, yeah, but you still don't know how to use it.
Right, dude. Oh my God.
It was like he was jumping in the video. It was his first investment.
Right. You got a red? Jeez. Well, I mean, I guess we're a little, Like, so when I went to OCCC, every semester I was down there, it looked like I got hammered and picked what I was going to go do the next morning. So I did film for one semester, or video film, like cinematography. And so they had just got the red cameras. They got like 8 of them. And like, they're like, this is the only school in the nation to have red cameras. I'm like, so we're going to learn on the highest end camera that no one else out in the industry is using. Thanks for fucking me over. Like, that's great. It's cool. Now everyone's using those.
So this guy I follow on YouTube, Tin House, he was talking about this recently about people were asking him why he uses the lights he uses.
Yeah.
Because he uses pretty high end stuff, but the reason he uses it is because that's what all the rent house rent. So all the assistants he hires, they know how to use that.
Yeah.
Because he could save money and buy Godox. He could spend a lot more money and buy whatever, Profoto or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
But he's just using what the rent houses, so what everybody has experience with.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, like buying a bunch of reds or buying whatever.
Yeah. You're not helping yourself. You're limiting yourself down. So, okay. Well, now he's doing the piss dance, so he's ready to go. But
I do have to pee.
Okay. So where would everyone find you at on the social medias?
So pretty much I've been on social media long enough where I'm just Brent Fuchs, BRENTFUCHS everywhere.
Okay. And then we are going to have you back on because I have more questions about. You should take me through my first my dark room experience. Not him, because I want it to be good.
Go. So you want to meet me in a dark room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has clammy wet hands.
For an experience.
It's not worth it.
No, I was, you were a teacher for a long time. I went to, so I worked on projects at UCO, OCU, and I also took classes at Rose State and worked on projects there. So it was I was like, that's cool. He could have been my professor at any point in time if I just went in there at the right time. So I was like, that's pretty neat.
We'll have to come back and talk about cars because we didn't cover that either.
Yeah, don't worry. I always leave meat on the bone for the next episode.
So the important question is 3 on the tree or 4 on the floor?
Dude, are you fucking what are you talking about? 4 on the floor of a Muncie, homie.
All right.
If I want to sit there and just fuck up my life, I'll do a 3 on the tree. No.
Yeah.
If I'm driving Miss Daisy, do the 3 on the tree.
I'll do a 3 on the tree if we're doing like a 52, custom deluxe,
old truck guys will probably say 3 on the tree.
Oh yeah. Well, because they're wrong and they don't understand how the fucking floor shifter works. They're like, that's where my fucking lady sits whenever we're going to town with the cornmeal.
Yeah.
So I remember asking my kids when they got their license, like, okay, guys, they're both girls. So I'm like, okay, bro, 3 in the tree or 4 on the floor. Yeah, that was one of my favorite jokes when they were growing up. I'd be like, hey, bro, take the chip.
So Ingrid, when I was showing you out in the front, in the backyard, so she's 4 on the floor. So there's 2 variants of that transmission, and I had the best one of it. I've always been a strong proponent of 4 on the floor. If it's 3 on the floor, it needs to go up on the tree though, because 3 on the floor is unnatural.
That's retarded.
Every time someone's like, "This is a 3 on the floor," I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Because I'm like, "Do we have?"
You know what the best part of 4 on the floor is?
More horse?
Well, no. If she's sitting next to you on a bench seat,
This
you
is
go
why
into second gear, and you have her right next to you. You're like, "Oopsie!"
Yeah, 2nd and 4th. So like, as you're cruising through the neighborhood, getting away from Dad, and as you're blowing away from county, yeah.
Getting away from Dad. I mean, I'm 47. I can't even have that conversation.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see you back in a couple months. We'll figure out the next round of this.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Bye.
I'm gonna do outro music. That's what I feel like now, man.
Okay.